Chapter 661. Maria tests out the full capabilities of her power while I continue to attempt peering into her soul energy core to figure out what this pulsing sensation really is. In between our exchanges, she feels multiple times weaker than the moment before our attacks collide. I even test out using my other elements with telekinesis to throw multiple projectiles her way from varying angles while our main focus of a sword clash continues on. The pulses in her aura allow for ice walls to form even separated from her body, mimicking the same increase in strength for a split second upon impact. While it feels like matching a mid-level true core is her maximum, every minute that passes during this clash adds small amounts of power to her base. Thousands of new links are being formed all over the Dark Continent and 8 great regions, and the rate at which word spreads increases more and more about the extravagant perks granted to those that create links. This allows an increasing amount of stats to be borrowed, slowly amping up the battle more with every collision. I can feel her movements become fluid and instinctual. However, I can sense small amounts of the beginning stages of early divine energy poisoning along with mental and physical fatigue building up. The rate that it does increases drastically after each of the unexplainable core pulses. I'm not too concerned, as with a few hours in hibernation using my skill, paired with Abby's restoration skill and a passive use of my self-regeneration skill, I'm sure she'll be fine. However, that takes time and brings us out of the flow state of training, so I want to hold it off for as long as possible and soak up as much experience as we can right now. To make sure we don't completely overdo it, after about half an hour passes, we both stop and take a break, floating above the desert, but neither of us powers down our auras just yet. The sun is beginning to set, and the mental clock in my head ticks away. Once it rises again, there is only going to be one day left before the big 3 come to the Dark Continent. Abby will be breaking through to her yellow core soon, and Ember should begin compressing his true core by the time the sun rises too. While it feels like I have limitless power at my fingertips, gaining 30x more stats than Maria has right now, I want to make sure I've done everything in my power to become stronger while there's still time left. As these thoughts race through my mind, I feel a familiar true core's aura approaching from the southern volcanic region, while Maria speaks up and points her greater forms sword my way. Ready to go again? I can feel it. I'm on the verge of unlocking this odd sensation in my core. I just need a little more battle experience at this level. I think to myself for a moment, picturing the pulses that only activate for fractions of a second at a time, then reply. I think you need someone closer to your strength to fight you. You're still subconsciously holding back, and no, I won't actually injure you. This was enough to get you used to this new power, but we're going to need to bring it up a notch if you want to have a breakthrough. Maria raises a question back. Your greater form? There's no way, not yet. I smile and shake my head. No, something different. Get ready for a real fight. There's someone I want you to meet. As Maria's gaze sharpens, I form a telepathy link with the true core flying my way, and before I can even say a word, Raven's voice comes through. What's going on? Do we have trouble? This pressure is like nothing I've ever felt before. I can't tell, it doesn't feel like a true core, but this is overwhelming mana control. Who or what? I can't help but grin while I respond through our link. Come here and find out. It's about time you meet the people you'll be fighting beside. With my perception covering almost a full third of the globe, I watch Raven's expression shift to one of confusion. This is one of your teammates? They weren't even orange cores the last I saw them. You're telling me this is a newly awakened aura? I reply as I feel her getting within visual range. Now I'm positive Raven can see both of us. Yes, it is a little complicated. She's using a very unique buff to borrow power. But there's no better first meeting for you two to get to know each other than a spar. Am I right? Maria's aura grows in power as it appears I'm just standing in midair before her after telling her I'm going to step it up a notch. Simultaneously, Raven is silent through our link for a few seconds. I reply back when I see her activating her own greater form and pulling out her silver blades with a look of determination. I guess I'll take that as a yes. Then, I open up a link between the 3 of us, and I float upward while a new true core's pressure fills the air, and the royal blue aura of the ice goddess becomes far more ominous. Maria, this is Raven, the true core I told you about that has been helping me learn about the order. Raven, this is Maria, the hunter I started my journey with. We were E-class hunters together, and now we'll be challenging the entire world. I believe an all-out spar would be a much more productive greeting than a simple conversation. If you find this story on Amazon, be aware that it has been stolen. Please report the infringement. As Maria's blue aura clashes with Raven's white-yellow aura, I can feel a barrage of emotions rippling through it that I did not expect to feel at all at first. On the surface, both are extremely curious to see what the other looks like and how they fight, but I feel undertones of jealousy and desire with hints of killing intent from each of them. I raise an eyebrow and decide to make the most of this situation. One of the reasons Maria wasn't able to fully awaken whatever her cores were trying to do was that we were not in a real battle. I activate my own greater form and pull out my second sword, flooding the battlefield in a new aura tens of times heavier than before, making both of the women below me reflexively shiver. Their greater forms' eyes lock with each other while I send them another message. Neither of you should be holding back. Maria, I want you to give in to the intuition and raw urges that power your soul energy core. Raven, consider this another chance to go all out like our battle and become even more skilled with your blades. Aim to kill, and trust that I will stop the fight before any real fatal moves. To make things fair, the instant their blades collide, I share my mythic grade all-seeing eye with both of them. An explosion of energy ripples off their clash that feels far more extreme than the prior clashes. They don't stay interlocked for more than a tenth of a second, as both of their forms twist around to create a counterstrike and dodge the others, leading to another clash right after. Blue and yellow explosions light up the sky, and I can feel the essence of true battle in the air. After about a minute of even clashes, Raven activates her divine stealth skill and catches Maria off guard, landing the first true hit, piercing through her greater form's side. However, it doesn't sink deep at all. I'm watching this fight take place with laser focus, and the moment Raven's invisible blades pierce through Maria's defenses, her soul energy core vibrates faster than I can even perceive. It shrinks and constricts unlike any other time before, then pulses, sending the same eerie intimidation wave through the desert, just like earlier in our training session. However, somehow it just jumped in power again, even briefly slipping through my greater form's mental barriers. The shiver I get makes me smile wide as Raven feels this aura and momentarily freezes to be struck by the ice goddess blades. Both of their greater forms fly backward and each of them coughs up blood, but the emotions and smell of battle in the air only heighten. Raven yells through the link. "There's another one of you? A battle maniac that grows after every hit. You sure do know how to pick him." Maria yells back. "You're not too bad yourself. I couldn't sense you at all for a second there. That kind of hurt." Then the line goes silent as the sky fills with blue and yellow explosions. Every few minutes, a deadly aura ripples from Maria when she finds herself in a tricky spot, and as my eyes watch the battle go on, I can't help but believe Raven's sword style is shifting and getting better. It looks like she's surpassed the skill level she showed during the height of our battle, and somehow is keeping up with Maria despite her small increases in stats every minute or so as the battle goes on. "Is that all you got? Too slow. Gotcha again. I'll make you tap first." "No way. Jay is going to have to save you before me." Every dozen or so strikes, I hear them yell something new through our telepathy channel, and I watch both of their bodies become riddled with near-fatal injuries. Blue and yellow slashes glow all over Raven's greater form, while Maria's becomes riddled with true core yellow threads as well. I send telepathy transmissions to all my doubles and have them all stop what they're doing and go farm pure mana from the artificial mountains to bring it to me fast. No matter who wins this battle, the aftermath isn't going to be pretty for either one of them. However, I'm mesmerized by the sight before me as the sun sets completely, and the sky overhead becomes dark. The massive light show in the sky here makes it basically as bright as day. While earlier, I didn't want to push Maria too far with our training, as we may have to give everything we have in a war in just one day. Now I don't dare stop the sight before my eyes. Both the women before me are improving at a rapid rate, while the emotional auras rippling out of them shift as well. Before it was unease, skeptical, jealous, and borderline hateful emotions in the air. But now there is great respect for each other being shared through every collision. There's only so much I can extrapolate from just watching. Their blades connecting tell a deeper story between the two of them. They've come to some kind of understanding. This shift has also led to far more frequent pulses in Maria's core, and instead of raw, eerie, mysterious power, they feel far more controlled, and the power being used each time is just enough to block or counterattack rather than wasting it in a pulse of intimidation through her surroundings. I'm still not quite sure what she's tapping into, as there is no description for it in the system, but whatever it is, she's beginning to figure it out. So I'll learn in time too, and maybe I'll be able to do the same with my soul energy core. Another 20 minutes pass, and the final rays of sunlight disappear from the horizon. While there are so many injuries covering the two women's bodies, the residue is enough to light up the sky. It's been a few minutes since either of them has improved any further, but they're still going at it, matching each other's attacks, and always finding a way to avoid a fatal blow, so I never have to step in. Their movements even seem to be slowing, and at the same time, I feel my doubles coming near but stopping about 100 kilometers away because the divine aura is too strong for pure mana manifestations to survive in. As the day comes to a close, even the links of loyalty have slowed down their rising as there is far less socializing at this time of night. The atmosphere changes as everyone knows this battle is coming to an end, and simultaneously, Raven and Maria both charge their greater form's blades for what looks like a final attack. The eerie aura comes back while Raven completely disappears, and the jet-black night sky above, paired with the endless abyss of a crater below, adds to the ambience. As they both charge at each other, ready to kill, my instincts tell me this is where I need to step in, and attempting to get in the center of this clash might actually be quite deadly if I just use the form I'm in now. While I am a few times stronger than them, these two attacks that are about to collide are the culmination of a life-or-death battle, where they've both used up their last bits of power and desperation for a final strike. Neither wants to lose. I fly forward and pull up my Rising Emperor's domain interface and select just 1% of all stats and all mana control for over 5.5 million links of loyalty, matching the boost that Maria has right now. Maria's densest blue sword strike is swung toward Raven's neck, and Raven's most precise and deadly swing of her silver blades is thrust through the divine stealth pocket dimension using her True Core's perk to aim right for Maria's heart. At the same time, I feel over 5 million stat points per stat rush into my status. My eyes widen as it feels like time is slowing down around me, and my vision somehow becomes far more clear, making me thankful I didn't decide to pull more than 1%. Because that might actually have been more dangerous than helpful at such close range. It feels easier than breathing to create mana barriers that surround both of them, blocking these strikes like a twig hitting a metal wall. At the same time, I let out a light pulse of intimidation to stop them from hurting themselves on the barriers I've created. The final attacks that would have ended this battle in a draw are stopped moments before they can be fatal. Both women pass out instantly, and their greater forms fade away to show faint smiles on both their faces. Chapter 662. Even though I hardly used half of my power to release that intimidation pulse, it was enough to break both of their adrenaline-fueled concentration and stop them from fighting instantly. Using my intimidation at full blast without these borrowed stats would most likely just scare them. An instant knockout with this much ease would not have been possible. Even my doubles, who weren't the focus of the attack and were 100 kilometers away, were greatly affected by the increase in my aura. If not for our instantaneous memory sharing, I would have had to forcefully deactivate all three of them standing by if I left my new mana control active for too long. While Maria and Raven both fall into the crater, covered in divine residue and countless near-fatal wounds, I deactivate my power-stealing perk and completely conceal my aura behind my purple barrier, swooping down to catch them both. My body doubles air step over now that the absurd auras have faded away, delivering about an hour's worth of plundered materials from the artificial mountains in the form of dozens of bright pink, dense mana crystals created with my crystal creation skill. I accept them and share hibernation with both Maria and Raven, feeding the skill hundreds of quadrillions of MP each to activate the highest setting, emergency mode, to speed up the process. It may delay the progress on the labyrinth's growth by a few hours, but at this point, it isn't a massive priority. I won't be making it to 200 floors in the next 36 hours, even if I use my main body to help plunder and speed things up. A white flash of light surrounds each of them, and the divine energy poisoning, along with the hundreds of injuries all over their bodies, begins healing before my eyes. I think that went well, I whisper to myself as my doubles return to their tasks, and I float in midair, lost in thought for a few seconds. They've definitely become better fighters. I'm curious to hear what they'll say once they wake up. Whatever it may be, I'm far more confident in their fighting abilities now, and I'm even considering giving Raven the option to become a general. I mentally open my interface to review the details again and even look at Maria's settings. It appears these general slots are permanent positions that cannot be taken away unless the link of loyalty is forcefully severed by both sides. If there are really only going to be 5 slots available to wield this power, I'll need to think carefully and strategically about the remaining 4 and not pick them too quickly. With this on my mind, I pull a transport crystal from my storage and crush it with telekinesis, transporting the 3 of us back beneath the Crimson City. The yellow divine threads down here are circulating much slower than before, but with the insulated true core imbued shielding on the walls, all the threads stay inside, making the air far denser with energy. I rest Maria and Raven against a wall as they continue to glow bright white in a state of suspended animation, and my eyes turn to Abby first. Her core is even closer to breaking through than it was this morning, and my presence, along with an unknown entity in the room, breaks her concentration slightly. I feel a pull on my telepathy channel as it opens. Who is that? And what happened to Maria? I can't sense either of their presences. I reply, that is Raven, the true core from the southern volcanic region I mentioned earlier that was helping me learn more about Central Headquarters. I've protected both of their auras behind my divine barrier, as the residue and pressure they give off may be harmful to you here. We had a sparring session out in the desert to test the yellow core's power. I look forward to doing the same for yours. The author's content has been appropriated. Report any instances of this story on Amazon. There's a slight pause, and I feel a ripple of emotion from Abby, similar to what I sensed from Maria before their battle. But she quickly suppresses it and responds, good. At this rate, I should awaken by morning. I just need a bit more time. She consumes another yellow fragment, and her body surges with yellow threads as she continues. A few hours ago, Ember stopped circulating the room, so we've been relying on the pure power of the fragments you left behind. Our absorption rate is the same. We just need to consume more since the residue remains stagnant. I look around the room, and my eyes fall on the isolation pod next. Peering inside, the sight I see is far more extreme than expected. An incredibly dense yellow core is being compressed as we speak. Golden and silver threads cover the inside of Ember's body, containing every single yellow thread within, creating an extremely controlled and calculated process that doesn't affect the outside world with his aura at all. If my perception wasn't so sharp, it would seem like nothing but an unawakened sat inside that silver pod, similar to the capabilities of my purple barrier. I reply to Abby once I understand what's happening, not daring to contact Ember or push my aura near him, not wanting to disrupt the delicate compression process taking place. Let me help with your energy cycling problem. Just focus on healing and absorbing threads. Next, I activate the True Core perk I stole from Sebastian and feel for all the stagnant yellow threads in the room. Without letting any mana seep from my body, I attempt to move the stagnant yellow energy in circles around the room to simulate what Ember was doing before. The entire room shakes slightly when I activate this power, and the threads begin to dance and wiggle as I form mental links with each of them individually. I sit down and close my eyes to pour my full concentration into this task. At first, it's quite hard to move this energy without using mana as its base, as even the True Core's ability is paired with superior mana manipulation. If I were to inject even a few thousand MP into the air, this would be simple. But I want the divine energy circulating into my teammates' cores to remain as pure as it is in the yellow fragments. Secondly, I want to train this unique ability while I have the perfect place to do so. Minutes pass, and the dancing threads begin rotating around the room extremely slowly, making just one revolution in all the time I've been at it. However, there's momentum now, and the second revolution only takes a full minute. After another 15 minutes, I start to sweat, and the mental strain from pushing each individual thread with precision begins to build up. I avoid hitting Ember's isolation pod, as well as the two women in hibernation. However, now my understanding of the ability grows even higher, and a single revolution takes less than 20 seconds. I have to strategically let go of the threads that collide with Abby, Lydia, and Fisher. If I hold on too long, I'll accidentally tear divine energy from their cores that could have been absorbed. A smile grows on my face as the minutes pass and my precision improves. Once a single revolution around the room takes less than 5 seconds, I start shaping the thread's flight paths much differently. There's no one sitting in the center of the room, so I move the threads to the outer flight path, concentrating the energy more densely where we're sitting. A few minutes later, once I'm more comfortable, the revolution time lasts less than a second. Abby increases the strength of the bright green and yellow restoration circle on the floor, as far more threads are now circulating through everyone's bodies. I could go faster as my comprehension of the technique is improving rapidly, and I even recall the time when I was compressing my true core, with cycles of energy coursing through me at magnitudes of hundreds or even thousands per second. However, the mental and physical limits of everyone in the room are a bit lower than my own. I can tell Abby could handle more, but Fisher and Lydia are nearing their max. I make one last adjustment, compacting the thread's density a little more by combining the portion near the ceiling with the threads circling the floor. Before my eyes, their thread-gathering speed enhances a few times over without them needing to consume more fragments, just using the leftover residue in the room. We sit here for another hour as I continue cycling the energy, and my progress with the True Core's ability grows even more. I manage to control portions of the threads to weave around Fisher and Lydia each cycle, allowing Abby to absorb more without pushing anyone too hard or holding anyone back. Each revolution delivers the maximum number of threads everyone can handle. In just 2 hours from the time I returned, I witness Abby's yellow core fully saturate, and all signs of orange threads in her body disappear. A pulse of energy surges through the room as a result, and her eyes open wide, glowing yellow, while her green eyes and hair shine brightly beneath. She speaks aloud. "That was faster than I expected." She grins but keeps the restoration circle active, as the threads circulating the room are still in motion. I open my eyes and smile back. "Congrats. You're a yellow core now. I have another powerful stat buff I want to share with you. Let's see how far you can push that second ranked up buff of yours, the form of the Immortal Healer, now that you can wield this much divine energy. I wonder if I can still land a hit on you." While I reply, the white glow around Maria and Raven begins to fade as their hibernation process comes to an end. At the same time, there's a click from the isolation pod at the back of the room, and the silver door slowly opens. Chapter 663. As Abby looks down at her hands, still in awe of the power surging through her now that her yellow core is fully saturated, footsteps echo through the room. Ember steps out from the isolation pod, and not a single thread of divine energy seeps from his body. However, there's a new aura about him, one that exudes pride and excitement, sending ripples through my purple barrier. The silver and golden threads have vanished back into the center of his core, now impossible to see unless I focus my perception closely. Instead, a brilliant white and yellow ball of light burns in his chest. Ember halts in the center of the room, his crimson eyes glowing fiercely to match his flowing hair. They gleam golden as he stretches his arms and surveys the room, making eye contact with me first before glancing at Raven and Maria, who are beginning to stir as their hibernation ends. He turns his gaze back to me and speaks. "I'm impressed. This planet isn't resource-rich at all, yet you've improved a lot while I was resting. There must not be many true cores left." He chuckles and his aura sweeps through me, assessing my core's progress, before shifting his gaze to Abby. He stares at her for a moment. "I overheard your conversation earlier. The form of the Immortal Healer. That's a buff you really have." Abby raises an eyebrow but nods. Ember crosses his arms, grinning. "It's been a long time since I've heard that name." As he speaks, both Maria and Raven's white hibernation light fades completely, and their eyes open, taking in their surroundings. Raven looks startled at first, but I hold back the reflexive pulse of my true core's energy, keeping it behind my purple barrier to ensure everyone remains safe. Maria turns to Raven, and the two exchange smiles, as if they've already become friends. They stand and extend hands to shake. Raven speaks first. "So it was a draw." Maria nods as they release their grip. "It seems so. I like your fighting style. We should go again." Raven smirks before responding. "You know, I have a few artifacts back in my region you could use. I've never met anyone with such a strong ice affinity. They were meant for one of the big three named Alara, but I think they'd suit you better." Ember's eyes shift from Abby to Maria for a moment, looking deep into her soul energy core, grinning and nodding once, before settling his gaze on Raven. "You're a new one. What an odd aura you have." He steps forward, extending a hand, and they shake as well. I speak up as they do, debating whether or not to tell Raven that Ember is a dragon. "Ember, this is Raven, another true core on our side." "Raven, this is Ember. Well, let's just say he's a powerful addition to the team. A fellow true core." I decide not to reveal more, and from the amused aura radiating from Ember, I can tell it was the right choice. Once we fight together, she'll figure it out on her own. Over the next few minutes, we catch up. I brief everyone on what I learned during my journey to Central, recounting the events after the B-class exams that led me to meet Raven and take over the 8 great regions for expansion. Finally, I outline my plans for the next 36 hours before the Big Three return. Maria and Raven plan to head back to the volcanic region to retrieve unique artifacts Raven hasn't touched in decades, which might prove useful. Plus, she still has over 180 yellow fragments, which she's more than happy to share with her new sparring partner. If you stumble upon this narrative on Amazon, it's taken without the author's consent. Report it. By the end of our conversation, they're acting bubbly and friendly with each other. Their bond clearly strengthened. Fisher and Lydia, their cores about 1/3 saturated, listen in too, though they're primarily focused on amassing more power. Ember breaks the silence. "Well, in that case, I'd like to spar with Abby. That buff intrigues me. I think I can push it to its limit." I raise an eyebrow. "Hey, there's still a lot I want to ask you." He points to the bunker ceiling. "Well, we can fly to a sparring ground the long way. I'd like some fresh air." Before I can point out the issue in the room, I watch Ember's right hand glow with bright white and yellow light. "Stand back. This will fix the circulation problem while we're gone." Pure divine energy flows from his fingertip, forming a string of dense, silky yellow light. The tips connect, creating a circle. Then, a faint silver light flashes in his eyes, and miniature silver threads form within the floating energy construct. He expands it, allowing it to rotate around the room at the same rate I control the excess yellow threads, then releases it. Yet it continues to spin. I can feel it tugging at all the threads in the room, so I release my True Core's ability, and the spinning threads keep moving on their own. My eyes widen, but for some reason, no one else in the room seems impressed. They're either dazed or uninterested. This strange sensation, paired with the feeling I had near the tower in the center of the Dark Continent and the dragon's words about memories of the fallen one being fuzzy or non-existent, only adds to the list of questions swirling in my mind. I decide not to bring it up and open the hatch above us to leave the bunker, as planned. Maria and Raven use teleport crystals to return to the volcanic base to check out her artifacts, while Abby, Ember, and I head off in the same direction, though taking the long way. Once we're far from the Crimson City, I start a new conversation. "So why are you so interested in Abby's buff?" While Ember thinks, and the three of us airstep through the sky, I add Abby to my Rising Emperor's domain as my second general. He responds. "It's a rare one, usually paired with the Restore skill." He turns to Abby. "I'm sure you know by now, but that's no ordinary healing ability. It's a unique skill like Jay's Absorption. Only one entity can possess it in the system at a time." I raise an eyebrow, but Ember continues. "I remember the last holder of this skill. It brings back memories, so I want to see if you have what it takes to wield it this time." Abby nods. "I assumed it was unique, but don't compare me to whoever had it last. I want to learn to use it my own way." Ember laughs. murmuring under his breath. That's exactly what she would have said. Then he speaks up louder. Fine, fine. We'll spar until you figure it out. I have a new ability I need to get used to as well. I'll limit myself to yellow core usage for now. Abby shrugs, as she's clearly heard his first snarky remark back, and replies with a similar tone. Good. She turns to me, asking about the new notification she heard. I briefly explain how the general perk works, but Abby decides to test her yellow core's base power first. Ember speaks again. The system calls them generals? Interesting. Demons have the same ranking system. My head snaps his way. I hadn't filled anyone in on the conversation I had with the demon and dragon in the labyrinth, but Ember's words pique my interest. What do you know about the demonic realm, and the dragons being intertwined with the system, and this throne created by a divine beast? And, well, there's a lot of questions I have actually, but I'm more curious why you never told me the full truth about this world. The three of us stop mid-air, hovering over the large crater training grounds where Maria and Raven sparred earlier. Ember grins, and the golden light shimmers in his eyes again. It seems you've learned a lot while I was healing. It's not that I've kept information from you, but certain knowledge cannot be brought into this universe by me. Just as I was reborn as a fragile baby dragon, there's many more limits to my abilities in this life that only scratches the surface. There's only so much I can share at certain levels. I stare, trying to process his words. Here, I'll show you what I mean. The source is. The moment the words leave his lips, a blinding golden light engulfs my vision, and a loud white noise fills my ears. I quickly sift through my body double's memories to see if they registered anything, but all three are blank, distorted like my own. As seconds pass, even the memory of what just happened fades, leaving only the recollection of trying to understand. Abby is floating nearby in a daze as well, equally if not more stumped at what just happened. I look at Ember, shocked, and feel a faint aura of sadness from him. See, it's not that I'm keeping things from you. It's that there are things I cannot share yet until you are more powerful or have learned them on your own. These aren't my rules. Well, actually, another flash of blinding golden light hits me. This time, I don't bother checking my double's memories. The golden image fades away again. Ember sighs and speaks. Believe it or not, this isn't the first time I've told you about the labyrinth's demonic realm, the system's true purpose, and the intricacies of divine beasts. It's just the first time you're strong enough or knowledgeable enough to remember us talking about this much of the truth. Your first steps in controlling divine energy have definitely helped, but for us to talk this openly about demons and the system, you must have met another dragon with exceptional knowledge. He thinks to himself and whispers again. At least level 5,000 to know this much. I pause, considering his words. It's true. A dragon did tell me about the system, and a demon spoke of the 5 great families within the demonic realm. I can see the silver divine light that the throne is made of. But there are still too many things that don't add up. Who are you really? What did you do to earn the title of the Fallen One? Chapter 664. So, they still know that name this far out? Interesting. Ember looks at me with a pondering gaze, then continues. I've already told you who I am in this conversation. My comments about the source should have explained everything. So, it seems all I can say is what you know up to this point. Yes, the throne is an artifact created by one of the divine beasts, used mostly for the ascension of demons to bring them to the next realm, the green core state. Ember waits, and I nod in reply. Yes, I'm aware of this fact. He grins. Good. And I'm sure you're aware there's a disparity between the simple silver threads in the throne and the golden light in my core. All I can say is there's a step above, and I wouldn't be down here if I hadn't. The golden light blinds my senses again, but I'm satisfied that my thoughts about the throne have been confirmed as true. I won't be able to ask him more about this name, but I can still learn more. So, the divine beast, are they on this world? Or in the demonic realm? It's one of those overseers like the Lich King, right? Ember nods, and a ripple of sadness comes from him again as he realizes I don't remember the second half of his statement. But he replies, "They are definitely not on this world, nor are they in the demonic realm. I don't know the creator's identity for certain. They might be affiliated with the 5 great families you speak of. But an artifact of this magnitude cannot be crafted by a mere reincarnation of a divine beast. It is certainly one that is still alive and at the peak of its power." He turns in the direction of the Black Tower, thousands of kilometers away, then looks back at me, his gaze deep. "That is a problem for another day. This is an artifact crafted for descendants to easily conquer many worlds. You have to focus on the one world we're trying to save right now." I stay silent and nod, coming back down to reality and looking at the situation at hand. "All right, speaking of artifacts, one last question then." I point to the black cube that slowly rotates around me as its center of gravity. "You called this an amplifier. How can I make use of it? Ever since I walked into its tomb, it hasn't said a word to me." Ember chuckles. "Really? An amplifier that can hold a conversation? It must be a strong one. What was its desire?" I think for a moment. "It watched many of its people leave this world behind. I believe its desire was to save humanity." Ember nods, staring off toward the throne again, then back to me. "That's a pretty good one. But I'm as in the dark as you are on what powers it might grant. It will activate once it's necessary, or maybe not at all. What you witnessed while meeting it may have been the last of its power." Again, amplifiers are all unique, especially ones from the originator's era. There's nothing you can do now but wait and see. I touch the cube as it comes my way, and it bounces back, changing its orbital direction without making a sound. Then, I turn to Abby and float backward. "Well, I guess that's that. Ember is right. It's time you two practice and get used to your new levels of power. We don't have much time left." I back up, and both of them hover in the air, exchanging words for a few seconds before Abby pulls out her 2 blood-bonded daggers. A bright green aura glows around her, while the yellow threads from her core tether around it, and space begins to bend as she prepares to fight. Ember stands still with his arms crossed while she powers up, then gets into a fighting stance, releasing a small amount of divine energy from his invisible barrier. He matches her output, feeling and looking like a newly awakened yellow core from here. They both fly forward, and their spar begins. Ember calmly blocks her attacks with his bare hands, and they fly all over the sky, giving off flashes of yellow and green light. Every few dozen exchanges make Abby's control over her new power much more concentrated and deadly. Just like Maria, she hasn't had the chance to have a good fight going all out since long before she even started wielding divine energy. After over 100 exchanges, she begins sending spears of earth magic imbued with divine threads Ember's way, and the fight reaches the next level. Instead of just blocking with his palms, Ember shoots dark flames shimmering with yellow threads at each of the speared attacks, disintegrating them on the spot and dodging others while still clashing fist to dagger with Abby's main attacks. Help support creative writers by finding and reading their stories on the original site. A full 10 minutes at this basic level pass, and I watch Abby's speed and precision of strikes increase more and more. Ember keeps a cool and unchanging expression the whole time but yells out loud after one of their exchanges. "Come on, let's bring this up a notch. What do you say?" He lets more of his aura leak out, bringing him to the level of a mid to high-level yellow core, similar to that of the old Apex region director. Even from a distance, it's clear Abby is affected by the overwhelming aura. That is, until she activates her ranked-up buff, and her entire body turns green, while the yellow core in her chest continues to glow and spread throughout her body. Instantly, she seems fine and flies forward, unaffected by the pressure tens of times greater than her own. Ember grins, raising an eyebrow while preparing to block her incoming attack. At the last moment, centimeters before they collide, I watch portions of her body return to their natural state, and she's able to land hits on Ember's fists, but they're nowhere near strong enough to do damage. Ember strikes back, but his fist pushes right through her body like it's not even there, despite the clear difference in strength. Abby uses this moment of surprise to spin around to Ember's back and release another earth-imbued crescent, but millimeters before impact, Ember spins around and blocks this too. He counters again, But when his fist makes contact with her stomach, it phases through like nothing is there. Both lunge back, and Ember laughs, releasing the full aura of his true core. It's really the same power, the immortal form while still holding a yellow core. Quite impressive. Use that new buff Jay granted you. I want to see everything you've got. As his true core's aura ripples out, and they're only 100 or so meters apart in the sky, Abby can feel that if she's too close, she'll be knocked out from the pressure, and any exposed limbs or body parts would be shredded by the pressure alone. Releasing her buff to attack would not be a good idea. Moments later, Abby replies to this challenge by opening up her status interface and pulling the full 1% of stats from over 6.1 million links of loyalty. Her entire body glows bright green, and her aura grows, giving off an immense amount of mana control and stat-based power. However, I don't feel the same eerie sensation I did when Maria accessed these stats. Instead of staring into the abyss of a soul energy core, Abby feels inviting and warm. However, the raw strength coming off her is definitely intense. They both fly toward each other again without exchanging another word, and bright green and yellow light ripples through the entire dark continent, just like the spar between Maria and Raven hours ago. Right before each hit, Abby is able to deactivate small portions of her body and blood-bonded weapons to attack with, and Ember goes purely on the defensive. Her exposed areas easily fend off Ember's domineering true core's aura, and I smile as her attacks become faster and faster, aiming for fatal blows, while Ember keeps upping the pace to help her learn. Another 10 minutes pass as the exchanges become so fast, they near the speed and gravity waves I felt while facing off against the low-level true core bronze dragon. Abby's mana-rich aura ripples through the air, and I feel the same warm, calming sensation pass through me as she pulls mana from the surroundings and forms massive spears of stone to surround Ember, changing up her fighting style. Some of the immense pillars reach hundreds of meters long, and they fly forward at varying speeds while she severs her links with them to focus on flying forward with daggers in hand, using the village-sized stones as distractions. Ember replies to this barrage with ease, sending larger and larger waves of divine flames her way, disintegrating some of the spears and punching through others while simultaneously blocking her close-up attacks. He yells out loud again. Not bad. A newly awakened yellow core fighting a true core. No matter how many buffs are active, it's a feat that's basically impossible. Let's see if that physique still holds up now. As he spins out of the way of one of her close-range attacks, he sends a kick flying toward her side. But to both Ember's and my surprise, his leg phases right through her like a hologram, and she counters, sending him flying backward with an aura of surprise and excitement bursting from him. Red and black scales form all over his body, and his feet and hands turn to claws. A long, pointed tail emerges from his back, and the pressure from his true core grows even higher, nearly matching Raven's. Then he flies forward with an excited look on his face. His movement speed is slightly faster than Abby's now, and his pressure is overwhelming. However, once he makes contact with Abby's body again, and it phases through with no resistance at all, his excitement only grows more. Abby tries to counter, and Ember allows it to hit his right arm. Her dagger bounces off without leaving a single scratch. But when Ember strikes back again, his left set of claws fall deep into her green body and don't leave a mark either. Another 5 minutes of back-and-forth exchanges follow. Ember's hybrid form and Abby's full power pulling 1% of stats are nearly equal when it comes to speed and technique accuracy. However, the raw strength differs. While I'm not sure Maria could keep up with these fast-paced exchanges, I am sure the full power of her Ice Goddess blue sword could have left a mark on Ember. That being said, the more yellow and green flashes of light that go by, the more intrigued I become with Abby's near-invincible defenses. I watch with a proud look across my face from about a kilometer away, high above them, while they continue to spar, becoming faster and stronger with every strike that passes. Now, not even counting myself, I have 4 teammates I am positive can hold their own against true cores. With the rate at which my links of loyalty are growing, we'll at least double the amount of stats to pull from sometime tomorrow. However, the scorching heat of those divine flames surrounding Central keep resurfacing in the back of my mind, making me wonder if all of this is enough. As another half an hour passes, and the two of them continue practicing at Abby's full power, my senses wander outward, routinely surveying the dark continent and 8 great regions. Suddenly, I see something very odd emerging from the receding abyss. In the center of the dark continent, over the last few days as the black mist flows back toward the tower, many abandoned villages and ruined cities have been revealed. Some were pillaged by rogue hunters and bandits, while others were destroyed by the demonic beasts that roamed within the demonic energy of the abyss. None of these beasts dared to step outside the darkness, as the air in this mana-rich world is harmful to pure demonic energy-born creatures. But now, for the first time, I see a sliver of space giving off odd readings right on the edge of the abyss near Sector 1, about 700 kilometers from Valor City. I wouldn't have noticed it at all, except for the fact that my senses picked up a large number of gravity wells emerging from seemingly nowhere. Their numbers continue to grow at a rapid rate. So, I focus all of my perception in that direction now to see what the disturbance might be. My eyes widen as a large demonic rift, over 10 meters high, floating above the desert comes into view. Many demons with bright red divine cores glowing in their chests step out onto the sand, lighting up the night with their crimson divine light. They're dressed in full black armor, long swords and shields in hand, and emit a dangerous and unique aura of killing intent. Chapter 665. I watch dozens of red-cored demons, dressed head to toe in metallic black armor, step out from the rift. Some carry long swords, others shields, and a few wield axes and hammers. Their horns vary in height and length, with colors ranging from black to brown to red. The exposed skin on some demons shares these color tones. Even their heights and builds differ, some standing near human height at 2 meters, while others tower up to 5 or even 6 meters tall. These are all archdemons, ranging from level 5000 to 9000, and their sharp eyes scan the darkness of night with ease, spreading out in multiple directions. The constant flow of red cores halts after about 4 dozen demons emerge, and then an orange-cored demon steps through. It moves forward, raising its arms to begin giving orders to the surrounding demons. At such a distance, with the interference of the abyss, the true core-level fight happening in front of me, and the thousands of kilometers between us, I can only make out a few words. Survey the lands, and report back the throne's approximate opening time. I want threat levels calculated. This world is located in a third-class natural mana zone. There shouldn't even be enough mana here to create a fully matured Stage 2 labyrinth. Scope out potential nearby threats and secure this land to begin the base builds. Lord Vermilion will be expecting your scouting results back in 15 minutes. The demons split into 2 groups. Some spread out to begin surveying the outside of the abyss as it slowly seeps inward toward the tower, while others get into formation and start glowing white and purple. At first, my eyes widen as I mistake this purple glow for something similar to the ring I'm wearing. But the longer I look, the more intriguing it becomes. Their demon cores all glow and vibrate with this light purple sensation, and a material emanates from their bodies, giving off the radiation of chi in the back of my mind, while also simulating the sensation I feel when someone uses soul energy. No mana is being used in these movements, and it clicks in my head what they're using once the base of a structure begins to form on the desert floor. Demonic soul energy. I whisper to myself. It appears that just as mana and chi can combine to create a far more powerful base, demonic energy and chi can do the same. Demons on this world are usually too weak when they form labyrinth contracts to obtain such a substance, so they're all mana-based creatures here. Only a small portion are capable of wielding demonic energy through their cores, and even less have ever even seen chi. However, every single one of these demons is using both of them combined, to an exceptional degree. They are the elite force Pluto spoke of seeing when he was young, an army of demons led by the Vermilion family called the Red-Cored Demonic Knights. As this unfolds in my mind's eye, the spar between Ember and Abby continues. In Ember's hybrid form, their speed and battle IQ are similar, but it's clear Ember has far more raw power. Even the attacks Abby lands only scratch his natural scaled armor, while Ember's attacks can't land either, as Abby's body allows them to seep through like nothing. Every time her immortal body is tested, I feel a faint warm ripple of energy coming from her, hitting me and everything in our surroundings. I'm over a kilometer away, and it is very faint, but I zero in on it with my all-seeing eye as the battle goes on and discover that energy is being expended and ejected each time. The explanation for how it works is almost as strange as the pulses from Maria's core. Ember yells again as they both fly back after a rapid series of exchanges. All right, if I can't land a hit on you with this, I'll be thoroughly impressed. His body glows with a yellow and golden radiance, growing in size. The scales multiply, covering the remaining exposed skin, while his clawed hands and feet grow larger. This text was taken from Royal Road. Help the author by reading the original version there. His tail extends and thickens, while above it, 2 obsidian black wings sprout with crimson-red undersides. His true core's silky divine light pulses outward, imbuing his entire form as it grows tens of meters long, giving it a shimmering mythical glow. He lets out a roar, emitting the full power of his aura, dominating the battlefield with multiple times the pressure from moments ago. Abby remains unaffected, using her second ranked-up buff. She yells back, "Come at me with everything you've got." She deactivates her earth magic and puts away her daggers, focusing purely on defense. There were no marks on Ember's hybrid form, so attempting to attack this form seems pointless. Right now, they're testing the effectiveness of her immortal form. The two forces move forward, and I watch Ember's claws move first as he releases a wave of bright divine flames. On contact, Abby's green body ripples, and an even hotter wave of pure mana pulses out. Yet again, she's completely unscathed from Ember's full-force direct attack. The black and red dragon's laugh echoes throughout the air as their exchanges continue, with him releasing flames and deadly strikes her way. Over 2 minutes pass with dozens of attacks. Every time Abby tanks the hits, I feel hotter and hotter waves of energy radiating from her body. In my mind's eye, I continue to watch the demons build their square-shaped structure from demonic soul energy, while others circle the abyss. I could intervene, but they're about to hit the apex of their battle, and Abby's physique is finally reacting to Ember's blows in a way that's pushing it to its limit. The demons present could be taken out in seconds if I flew over, but I don't see them as a threat. It's best not to disturb the flow state of the battle before me. The heat waves from their fight grow so intense that I back up another kilometer. Meanwhile, some of the red-cored demon scouts report back to their orange-cored leader. I can only make out 2 of their responses, as the divine radiation interference here grows more intense. "Commander, the perimeter is secure. No ascended demonic beasts or humans within 100 kilometers on either side. 31 planet hours. This is the approximate time of the awakening." The orange-cored commander nods, then turns to walk back through the open rift. Less than a minute later, multiple orange cores emerge from the rift. My heart rate speeds up as I see the sheer number of demons with bright orange cores walking out into the desert of the Dark Continent. I count over a dozen, and the hundreds of red-cored demons following them are even more absurd sight. Over a dozen commanders begin giving the hundreds of red-cored demons orders, repeating the process of surveying the abyss and building symmetrical bases a few kilometers apart, one for each orange core. I consider breaking the news to the fighters before me, but the heat waves coming off them continue to rise as Abby's energy form glows brighter with every second. Her speed is increasing exponentially, and it feels like she's converting stagnant energy in her body into a boost for her movement speed. As my all-seeing eye enhanced vision tracks her, it looks like she's experiencing a breakthrough, similar to the one I had when fighting Sebastian the True Core. I had strategically selected areas of my greater form to alter its density, enlarging for higher attack power or compacting for greater speed. It seems Abby is doing the same, making portions of her body less immune to attacks where she isn't being hit, using that energy to propel herself through the air faster. Once the hordes of orange and red cores stop flowing from the rift, 6 yellow-cored demons walk out next. This finally gets my attention, and I open a telepathic link with both Ember and Abby, no longer caring if I break their flow state. We have company. Demons are emerging from a rift near the Abyss Dash. These demons are all level 9000 to 9900, and every single one of them possess enough divine energy to surpass the Apex Region's director. 2 of them are newly awakened true cores, while the other 4 have such large yellow cores that it looks like they're about to collapse into true cores at any moment. Instinctively, I activate my greater form and begin to send a warning through the open telepathy channel to my other teammates, but a 7th demon walks out, and the rift closes behind it. I stop before I fully get the message out, as for the first time in a long time, I'm unable to get a reading on a being's status. All that comes back are question marks and purple text that makes no sense. Another heavy true core demon emerges from the rift, its gravity signature many times larger than any true core I've ever seen. The only similar reading I've ever felt is the divine flames in Central, its eyes pulsing white and yellow, sending a wave of perception throughout the entire dark continent. With it comes a domineering pressure, and I don't need to say a word to Abby or Ember, they feel it too. The pulse travels far beyond us, deep into the 8 great regions, Raven's territory, and even further, beyond my senses. The demon stands tall, inspecting the structures being built, then orders the yellow cores to construct one of their own. This demon stands over 10 meters tall, with bright shimmering red horns jutting from its forehead, jet black skin, and obsidian armor that shimmers to match. Its face bears a noble, all-knowing expression. Once its subordinates get to work, it stares west, shifting its gaze slightly 3 times before moving its sight toward the south to look directly at me and send a wave of perception laced with a nasty aura of intimidation. From over 3,000 kilometers away, the psychic attack hits me, rattling my entire being. My vision blurs for a split second, severing my long-range perception and telepathy channels while an intense pain like pins and needles ripples through my body. I feel I've just looked into the soul of an evil god of war filled with nothing but bloodlust and ruthless killing intent. The cool outer image of the noble demon is very deceiving. About 2 seconds later, I manage to recover by instantly activating all my buffs and concentrating on my self-regeneration skill to cleanse the dreadful aura from my mind and body. However, once my long-range vision returns, all I see is the demon lose interest and turn away from me to look at the towering throne within the abyss. Chapter 666. Beckman, you felt that too, didn't you? Floating above Central Headquarters, the 3 strongest true-cored humans on the planet feel real fear for the first time in decades. I did, Redgrave. The Vermilion family has returned. Beckman scrolls and taps through his system interface while sweat trickles down his temples. Alara speaks through the link next. It feels like that true core has grown stronger since the first visit. That demon's aura made it through the S-grade originator stone defenses. It's like he could see right through, as if we're in a glass room. Beckman looks up from his status screen full of numbers. Yes, that wave that hit me was approximately 129% stronger than the strongest attack I felt the last time we met. That is certainly the same demon. I don't forget faces. There's silence on the 3-way line for a few seconds before a laugh echoes through from Redgrave's crystal. We've grown stronger too, you know? 3 on 1 should get the job done, don't you think? His transmission device clicks off, but his laughter continues in private as he begins to dance around and send shimmering yellow divine flames at the inner walls of his room. Voices come out of the transmission tablet left behind on the arm of his throne. The first is from Beckman. That is not part of the plan. We shall stay on target and wait 1 more day. The probability of unnecessary fighting is too high if we approach now. Alara returns a message. He won't go unless you give the order. He's just getting overly excited. A few dozen messages are sent back and forth between the 2 of them while Redgrave finally begins to calm himself down and walks back to his transmission tablet to hear Beckman's next words. Yes, that would be best. Awaken the emergency squads. I want bases built as close to the abyss as possible, far away from the Vermilion family's forts, and preferably far from the Flame Emperor's strongest settlement in Sector 2. Have the yellow cores bring the offering package to their leader. For now, we're holding true to the pact. A satisfied sigh comes through the channel from Redgrave next. Fine, fine. Alara, take care of activating my squad. I don't want to talk to either of you until we're actually heading toward the throne. There's an annoyed click of the tongue from Alara before she speaks. You know I can't do that. You need to activate your squad through the designated channel. This is a safety protocol for all of us. He grumbles back. Then at least let me take out that pest calling himself the Flame Emperor on our way over. I want a clear mind before I enter the doors. There's silence on the channel again, but finally Beckman speaks. That shouldn't be a problem. If the Vermilion leader hasn't killed him first, you're permitted to do as you wish once we make our move. But please, keep the civilian casualties below 1 million if possible this time. We cannot risk losing a portion of Central's population if there aren't enough workers left to satisfy the demons. Redgrave grins. Deal. 3 clicks follow as the transmission tablets all go dark, and many hidden bases deep beneath the divine flames surrounding the city turn their lights on for the first time in decades. Hundreds of red-cored elite A-class hunters open their eyes. Dozens of orange cores and a few yellow cores do the same in silver pods lining the walls of mana and divine energy-rich underground fortresses. They all receive voice commands with specific instructions, preparing them for an event they've been waiting for since the association was founded. Meanwhile, after shaking off the shock of the demon's gaze, I continue sending my distress message to all loyal teammates and high-ranking followers. Be on guard, prepare for war. The demons have arrived. Deep in the heart of a volcano, Raven and Maria open their eyes while cultivating in a solid black room surrounded by containment cases full of unique-looking treasures. This tale has been pilfered from Royal Road. If found on Amazon, kindly file a report. I send a message directly to them next. Their leader knows we're here, and they don't appear to be aggressive, but whatever you're doing, don't get too absorbed. I could need backup. In the Apex region, both Rodrigo and Bree get another unique message from me. Our campaign the last 2 days was a great success, but I want double, no, quadruple the merchants and hunters in the streets of every major city tomorrow morning spreading the word. Empty the association's treasury, promise to power-level hunters to whatever strength they desire. Use every trick in the book you can for a final push. I need every link of loyalty I can get. Similar messages go out to Chester in Sector 4, and both Monk and Lith in Sector 1. I give an additional warning to Monk to relay to the saint who is hidden away in the temple, telling him that the final moments are among us, and that the demons are closest to Sector 1, so be warned. The final message is sent straight to Abby and Ember, who pause their battle and return to their base forms. Abby uses her Restore skill to soothe both of their minor battle fatigue, and Ember returns to his human state while replying to my words of worry. If he wanted you dead, you would be fighting him right now. A warning is good to get everyone ready, but just know an archdemon of that caliber can listen in on any telepathy channel they wish. Even now, there is no stopping him from hearing my words. My mind's eye still watches the unbothered archdemon stare off at the slowly receding abyss as his workers continue to build their bases. Ember speaks again. Worlds like this are resources after all. Killing the strongest beings on it would only be a waste for their long-term profits. As these words enter my mind, another oddity tickles my senses in one of the furthest points of my mind within the Dark Continent. It is about 800 kilometers from Solara in Sector 4, on the edge of the receding abyss where some of the red-cored demonic knights are beginning to make their way out to. My first thought is that it must be another demonic rift, as more signatures of demonic chi have emerged from seemingly nowhere. However, these thoughts are pushed aside once I see for myself what comes out from the black wall of demonic energy. 2 figures emerge shrouded in darkness, moving quickly toward 4 red-cored knights that survey the lands. One of the figures carries a bow, and he blips in and out of sight while sending light purple arrows at the demon's arms and legs. The obsidian armor is shot through with ease, immobilizing 2 demons and forcing them to drop their weapons and shields as they lose access to their limbs. A woman follows close behind, sending crescents of what looks to be wind magic imbued with dense purple demonic soul energy. These blades of wind slice through the armor of the demonic knights that approach, doing the same as the archer, forcing them to the ground in a split second, immobilizing them before they were even spotted. The man and woman have bright purple soul energy cores in their chests. The archer has an archdemon core that overlaps with his demonic energy core, but I'm certain they're not demons. The two of them place a single hand on the fallen demons and drain their bodies of demonic energy in seconds, not killing them, but leaving them powerless in the desert as they creep further along the abyss in the dead of night. The corner of my mouth turns upward as Ari and Luna's name tags within my Rising Emperor's domain interface come back online, shining brightly as the only purple-colored text in my interface. I curiously watch as they easily take down 5 more red-cored demonic knights that followed the scouting squad, and repeat the same process, draining demonic energy from the immobilized demons. As Ari drains the last drop of demonic soul energy from his prey, he notices an orange-cored knight coming their way and whispers to Luna, "There's a far stronger one coming now. We'll have to fight it together, don't hold back. It's using the same odd gravity magic. I think we can take it. This will be our final test. Then we're headed back to the Crimson City to show the others what we found." Luna nods, not saying a word, and closes her eyes. Seconds later, a massive purple eye forms high in the sky above them, and a dozen smaller eyes form all around it, looking as though they've been summoned from all kinds of demonic monsters. Some resembling snakes, others cats, and some birds. They all emit their own purple aura, and cover the distance between them and the approaching orange-cored demon, while Ares' energy form grows in size and 6 arms emerge from his back to draw back and load 3 massive bows. The archdemon that approaches wields a heavy shield and a long sword, and stares at Ari while activating a communication link to his superior. "General, we've encountered the first threat. They seem to be humanoid demonic beasts. Strong ones, they took out 7 of our knights. No divine energy is present, but the scent of ascended beasts is all over these two. I'm going to engage, but I'll need backup." There's a click, and one of the yellow cores sends orders for the requested reinforcements, then turns to their leader and reports the news. He replies in an unbothered tone, "Intelligent ascended beasts? No, it's most likely humans that used the throne's excess radiation as a training ground. Take care of them yourself. I don't want a single orange core injured." "Yes, sir." The high-level yellow core floats in the air, then heads off in the direction of the disturbance. All 13 of Luna's eyes simultaneously blink, and at the same time, Ari sends 3 arrows toward the orange core running their way. The first white arrow bounces off the tough obsidian armor chestplate tethered with orange threads without leaving a mark. The second light purple arrow hits the demon in the leg as it curves around its massive shield, and a small fragment of armor is broken off, making the demon misstep. Ari grins as he sends his final dark black and purple arrow toward the commander. Its core is filled with dense mana, while its outer layer is charged with all of the demonic soul energy that he siphoned out of the red cores on his way here. There are leftover red thread residues in this attack, accidentally strengthening it even further. Ari lets go of the arrow, and it twists around the demon's sword like it has a mind of its own and hits the commander right in the arm, shattering its orange thread-imbued armor and forcing it to drop its sword. The 13 eyes above blink 3 more times, and each time they do, Ari sends out another 3 shots, hitting the demon's other 3 limbs and immobilizing him on the ground. As Luna and Ari move toward their target, a transmission goes off in the commander's helmet. Support is on the way, as the poisonous, demonic essence of the ascended scorpion, laced with an Ares arrows, flows through the demon's body. Its eyes are wide open, can't speak, move, or even think of the words to reply. There is only silence as the 13 eyes above stare down and Ari drains the commander's body dry of demonic soul energy. Chapter 667. For more orange-cored commanders nearby leave their posts, flying through the air just above the desert's rising and falling dunes toward the last known point of the downed knights and the source of the distress transmission from minutes ago. The 13 monstrous purple eyes floating above the edge of the abyss blink simultaneously again as Luna speaks to Ari, while they run past their previous prey. More of those orange demons are on the way, and dozens of reds are coming into view. They're building structures in Sector 1. Keep sending me their exact locations and weak points. I can handle a few more of them. Ari responds, drawing back more arrows now laced with small threads of orange from the last commander's core. Dozens of rapid-fire shots go off in the dead of night with pinpoint accuracy, thanks to the eyes of the chimera above. Paralyzing poison spreads through the demonic commanders before they even realize they've been hit, as Ahri uses his mythic-grade stealth skill to disappear from their senses and attack from their blind spots. I'm hit. Need more backup. Send Amo. I can't see. I can't move. General. Bleak messages echo through the transmission device in the general's helmet on the way as one commander after another is taken out by a mysterious demonic force from the abyss. From afar, I watch as the high-level yellow core bends space around him as he rockets through the air. Luna's eyes in the sky sense it as it approaches, and I watch Ahri charge up another set of arrows and let them fly as a long-range attack to test this approaching opponent's strength. The first two bounce off as expected. However, the third and most powerful arrow, imbued with orange threads from 4 commanders, does the same, heading toward the general's chestplate and disintegrating the instant it makes impact. Clear shock and awe ripple through the two of them. Taking on demons that are naturally stronger than any humans of the same level is a feat in its own right. They've even faced demons with divine energy of the second rank, the Orange Core, without forming their own divine cores. They've grown incredibly strong, but taking on a demon on the verge of transitioning to a true core without any divine energy would be absurd. My gaze tracks the surrounding desert area to pinpoint dungeons I could teleport to in order to intervene, but the general has its sights set on them, and their impact time will be well before I can get between them. The closest dungeon point I could access is still hundreds of kilometers away. My gaze shifts to the Vermilion family head, but he still just stares at the throne, uninterested in the battle. Then, I take a deep breath and open up a telepathy channel between myself, Ahri, and Luna while pressing a few buttons on my system interface. Welcome back, you two. Don't go getting yourselves killed on the day you finally decide to return. I add Ahri as the third general and send a message to him as he pulls back 3 more arrows, and the yellow glowing demon draws its sword back, preparing a long-range attack to take the 2 of them out in a single strike. Open up your status before you take the shot. I got you a coming home present. Ahri's eyes widen at the long-range telepathy channel from me, one of the last things he expected in the moment, but he mentally checks his status, struck with even more surprise. His expression turns focused and calculated moments later, and the demon that approaches sends a crescent of dense demonic soul energy tethered with yellow divine threads their way. It carves out the desert on all sides, leaving a hole hundreds of meters deep from its aura alone as it gets too close to the ground. Luna's eyes blink, then disappear, but Ahri grins and speaks out loud. Reading on Amazon or a pirate site. This novel is from Royal Road. Support the author by reading it there. Stand behind me. Don't worry, I've got this. His base stats rise as 1% of over 6.2 million links of loyalty flood into his system, and his greater archer form naturally grows larger. The general sends a transmission back to his leader right after he swings. They're taken care of as requested. We've lost 4 commanders, though. It will. But he stops mid-sentence as Ahri's aura expands and erupts with a deadly pressure hundreds of times stronger than it was seconds ago. He releases all 3 of his arrows in a single shot, the 2 weaker white and purple ones spinning in front of the darker shot as they collide with the demon's slash. The night sky lights up in a purple and yellow flash as massive amounts of desert are decimated, and the 2 front arrows explode, splitting and weakening the demonic slash. 2 halves of the attack separate to opposite sides of the archer and the wind mage, carving out the desert and leaving them on a small elevated level of sand while Ahri's final arrow, shrouded in darkness and concealed by his stealth skill, rips through the open air. There's a second explosion of light and divine radiation as it hits the demon's chestplate right where his last attack did, but this time shattering it to pieces and piercing through, spreading the strongest dose of an ascended demon scorpion's poisonous essence through its bloodstream in an instant. While in any other circumstance I would be happy about this outcome, there is a large looming fear that makes me yell through our link. Now fall back. You have no idea what you're dealing with here. That demon is child's play compared to what you're walking into right now. Do not even stop to drain its soul energy. Run. As these words enter their minds, the air pressure through the entire dark continent shifts, and a dreadful demonic voice replies, forcefully adding itself to our link. Don't think you can kill my men and leave so easily. The Vermilion family head disappears into thin air, traveling hundreds of kilometers before I can even blink, reappearing above the fallen general right in front of Ari. I instantly reply, "They're not dead. Let's settle this before we do something impossible to take back." The demon shifts its gaze toward me, still thousands of kilometers away, and sends another wave of intimidation just like before. "You have no right to negotiate. Human." This time, I'm prepared to receive it, activating my power-borrowing perk from my Rising Emperor's domain, and pull 5% without thinking twice, drawing tens of millions of stat points per stat in an instant, taking the mental attack on without batting an eye. Ember's stats and mana control rocket upward as well, thanks to our link, and Abby reactivates her immortal form to withstand the new mana control aura blasting out of me, making the air and desert below vibrate for hundreds of kilometers without even sending out an attack. The demon's gaze tightens, and I feel it send another burst my way, this one even stronger than before. My initial instincts are surprise mixed with fear, as the realization dawns that this demon was still holding back. I pull another 5% of stats, increasing the total amount borrowed to 10%, and when this second wave hits me, I'm glad I did so. My head rings and pounds as pins and needles fill all my senses, but I stare forward without moving a muscle. I get ready to steal every single stat available, but the demon grins, showing me his sharp white teeth. The first bit of emotion I've seen out of this noble entity that isn't dread or anger. He looks toward Ari and Luna, then back to me, sending a message in the same dreadful tone. 5 minutes. I want all my men in the same condition you met them, back up and working, and we're even. You're not as weak as I thought. You will be useful once this world is mine. It would be a shame to kill a powerful soldier. As these words enter my mind, I'm temporarily put at ease, allowing me to use my full perception to focus only on the situation at hand, and I realize that the 10% of stats and mana control I've taken has led to catastrophic events. For over 500 kilometers in every direction from me, a domineering aura radiates that would easily knock out any yellow core. Even in the Crimson City, over 2,000 kilometers away, and in the 8 great regions, over 5,000 kilometers away, a heavy pressure is felt and many weaker hunters feel lightheaded, while others are woken up in the dead of night by the eerie sensation of killing intent. Everyone on this side of the world holds their breath, realizing something big is happening. It's mostly directed forward at the demon, but others are caught in the crossfire without me even realizing it. Ember suppresses his aura, shielding Abby, as even in her immortal form, it's quite dangerous to be this close to me right now. My eyes widen, and I force my aura to retreat behind my purple barrier, allowing everyone to breathe. Then I send a message back. "We'll get it done." The demon disappears, then reappears back in his original spot in front of the other yellow cores, crosses his arms, and looks at the throne with an unbothered gaze, but sends me a private word of warning. "You and I both know if we fought here, no one would survive. This small world cannot handle it. As much as I want to put you in your place, it would cost me 60 million humans in the process. Let us save this dispute for inside the throne, assuming that Redgrave fellow doesn't kill you first. 30 hours remain." He forcefully severs the link and stares ahead. I want to ask him what he meant by that last statement about one of the big three, but his mind is an unbreakable fortress that I can't breach to ask. So my attention shifts elsewhere, thinking about the area my aura just reached, affecting millions of people, and the fact that I could still increase it by taking 20% more stats if I wanted. Then, I picture what an attack using that kind of power would produce. It leads me to think about whether or not that demon was even using its full power, and I lean toward no because of the fact that I still couldn't get a single reading on its status while borrowing 10%. Before I can think any further, messages from allies come streaming into my head from all over the nations as they felt that wave. I block them all out and send messages to Ari, Luna, Abby, and Ember. This isn't the welcome back party I expected to host for you two, but at least it's interesting. 5 minutes to heal them. Here's the plan. I explain the plan while air-stepping over to Ember, powering down to my base form but keeping all my borrowed stats and hopping on his back. Abby gets on behind me and holds on tight while the purple barrier envelopes us both. With a flap of Ember's wings, we fly toward the abyss. Chapter 668. With 10% of borrowed stats coursing through Ember, we fly through the desert faster than I've ever traveled, making it to the center of the Dark Continent in under a minute, coming to a halt right above the crater made by Ahri and the Demon General's clash. Ember reverts to his human form, and we float down to begin restoring the immobilized demons scattered across the desert. Green restoration circles powered by 1% borrowed stats and Abby's yellow divine threads form beneath the paralyzed and dying demonic soldiers, neutralizing the poison and healing the lost limbs of some of the knights Luna sliced through. I follow behind Abby, pulling out chi crystals that I farmed from the desert floor below Palmyra, using my True Core's divine energy manipulation ability to crush the white energy into a digestible microscopic mist, and streamlining pure chi into their cores. For the Orange Cord commanders, I pull a few orange divine fragments out, careful not to accidentally inject any of my own yellow thread into their bodies, and use red fragments to do the same with the knights. All of the demons stand to their feet once we're done, and I hear a telepathy channel open for all of them. Their leader is letting me in to hear their orders. Stand down, men. You may do what you wish with them once I enter the throne. For now, we do not engage. The link is severed, and all of the demons leave without saying a word. The Yellow Cord General gives Ahri a glare as he leaves, but the others are shaken and keep their heads down. I float over to Ahri and Luna next, a smile across my face, and Ahri speaks aloud. Sorry to put you in this position. I didn't know there would be. I shake my head and extend a hand. Don't worry about it. Your stunt actually gave me the perfect moment to talk to their leader. It might have been much worse if I was the one to make the first move. We shake hands, and I speak again, glancing over at Luna standing behind him. Glad to have you back, and I'm also glad I got the chance to see you two in real action. You've grown strong. Ember and Abby float down to greet them next, and we have a brief reunion, interrupted by more telepathic messages from across the 8 great regions and Dark Continent, as people still worried about the aura I released moments ago. I quickly respond now that their lives aren't in danger of the head demon's wrath. Meet me above the Crimson Dome. It's not an emergency. Don't be frightened by the aura I just released. This will be quick but necessary. There's someone I want to welcome back and an update to the incoming battle plan. As requested, all notable figures come to the Crimson City. Bree, Rodrigo, Maria, Raven, Monk, the Saint, Lith, Chester, Abby, Ember, Luna, and Ahri all float before me in the air above the red dome in the dark desert. Lydia and Fisher even emerge from the bunker for a few minutes to listen in, and I invite the dozens of high-level members of the Crimson Army to partake in this briefing as well. We start by getting comfortable with the familiar faces here. Many reunite with Luna and Ahri, while others like Bree, Chester, and Lith reconnect after years apart in the trade scene, even before they met me. I quietly wait for everyone to get comfortable, scanning the crowd repeatedly, checking my status to see links of loyalty rise, using my all-seeing eye to monitor everything within a 5,000 kilometers radius. Part of my mind keeps examining the interesting new gear Maria is wearing, from which I can't get a status reading, all while thinking carefully about the next words out of my mouth. Less than 30 hours remain. The first threat has shown its face, but we're at a stalemate until the abyss completely recedes. I tell everyone here everything I know about the Big Three and the demons, leaving out one small detail about my arrangement with the demon in the Crimson City Labyrinth. Many eyes widen, hearing for the first time about divine energy, a demonic realm, or even the association being run by pseudo-gods who believe they can take over the world because they've been in control for hundreds of years. Many of my closer teammates are already aware of this, but they patiently wait for the crowd to calm down and let this information sink in. If you come across this story on Amazon, be aware that it has been stolen from Royal Road. Please report it. I speak up next with a grin. Many of you here were fighting right by my side when this city was founded, in the battle against the Dark One. You all trusted me and fought with your lives on the line, and now I'm asking you to do it again. As these words leave my lips, I sense hundreds more forces gravitating toward the abyss. It seems to be a similarly sized force as the demons. Hundreds of red cores, dozens of oranges, and a handful of yellow cores, all wearing Central Association logos. Their trajectory isn't aimed at us. It's directed toward the open land in sectors 3 and 4. The only others who can detect this are Ember and Raven. So I send a private message to them to check it out and not engage unless necessary while I continue my briefing. There will be 2 other elite forces, possibly larger than our own, in this fight. One will consist of demons, and the other of humans just like us. Our goal isn't to kill everyone who shows up, as no sides have attacked anyone yet. But they are on our land, and while I sort things out with their leaders, there's a very good chance a battle larger than anyone fought before in history will break loose. There is a high chance this will go down as the Second Great War. I let out a sigh while continuing to watch the troops of Association soldiers in my mind's eye peacefully float across the sky over the 8 great regions. If they attack you or a single citizen, do not hold back and have no mercy. It might be in an hour, 12 hours, 30 hours, or more, but get ready for war. This time, it isn't just to save a city. The entire world is on the line. There's tension in the air as these last words hang, and many people in the Crimson Army begin asking questions one by one. I answer them without holding anything back over the next few hours. The sun rises, and we've made no contact with the Association's troops. They establish 2 separate bases near the Abyss, mimicking the demon setup, avoiding Sector 2 as if ordered to steer clear of us. Everyone in my inner circle, the Dark Continent leaders who will be up close on this matter, and the strongest Crimson Army fighters now know everything about the impending war and are ready to put their lives on the line the second I say the word. Everyone returns to their posts to continue their day, but I stay floating above the Crimson Dome, staring toward the Abyss, anticipation filling my mind. It's the calm before the storm, eating away at me from the inside out. The only thing I want to do right now is start the fight, or at the very least, know who exactly I'll be fighting. Or, if I'll be fighting anyone at all. Ari and Luna talk with Monk and the Saint, led by Lith to teleport them back to Sector 1 to inspect some originator artifacts Ari had in his item box from their hometown. He took them out after my speech to show us, and I recognized letters similar to those in the Tomb of Adam, seeing phrases like a realm beyond and energy of the gods. But there's nothing new I don't already know. Raven and Maria return to cultivating inside her volcano fortress, while Abby, Lydia, and Fisher head back to the bunker to use as much of the remaining yellow threads as possible in the time we have left. Chester looks around the Crimson City. Bree and Rodrigo return to the Apex region, emptying all the gold and mana from the treasuries to spread word of the Flame Emperor's loyalty link and its benefits. By midday, I hear a notification as I hit 10 million links, but I hardly look at the status message for more than a minute all day as my mind is elsewhere. Congratulations! Rising Emperor's domain milestone reached. 10014/679/100000000 links of loyalty created. New perk unlocked. Rising Emperor's expansion. Info. All 5 generals may select 2 commanders and share 50% of their total, currently 1% borrowed stats. Each commander may take up to 25% max. The caster may borrow 5% of all base stat points and mana control efficiency from party members under the allegiance of the Rising Emperor. Additionally, 5% of the caster's base stat points and mana control may be temporarily distributed to any party members under the allegiance of the Rising Emperor. The caster may only borrow or share exclusively. Both actions cannot be performed simultaneously. Members affected by this perk are not required to be within range of the Rising Emperor's domain. This buff stacks with the Dominance perk, Authority perk, Power Holder perk, and Ruler's Gaze perk if used simultaneously. Now, I have up to 35% of stats available to me, and the generals are able to share half of the 1% they're borrowing with any 2 people they appoint as commanders. I beam this information to Maria, Ari, and Abby, but continue to stare off into the open desert, my heart pounding. 2 slots remain, but something in the back of my mind intuitively makes me hold off and not fill them just yet. The hot sun makes the air bend on the horizon, but my all-seeing eye still sees everything crystal clear. Ember floats beside me in silence, and the citizens of the Crimson City go on with their daily lives as though nothing is happening. Across the world, everything seems normal. Even after my announcements in capital cities, asking for support and basically telling the nation a war is near. There are smiles everywhere. Groceries and toys being bought, friends going out for drinks, even local newspapers still running their routes. 1 in every 5 people has given a loyalty link to me, and the word keeps spreading. Some even mention a strange feeling that they felt in the night during a family walk in the park, or as others eat a late breakfast together after a long night out partying. The world is about to end or be saved within the next 24 hours, but only those with the power to grasp the enormity of this threat seem to care. People are especially carefree in the Dark Continent, where new rulers, lords, and black market dealers constantly shift control. People just follow the continuously changing rules to support themselves or their families. No one understands that this time is different. I continue listening to my heartbeat as I watch the nation's day unfold. The abyss receding faster toward the black tower at its center. The Vermilion family head watches silently too. Even the association's team remains in their structures, unmoving at their stations. The world goes on, even as the sun sets and the final hours draw near. Everyone who will soon fight for control stands still in their bases, waiting for the throne to awaken or for someone to make the first move. The Crimson Army, Luna, Ahri, and all fighters in the inner circle who wield divine energy regroup above the Crimson Dome one last time to make plans to head toward the center of the continent. While I make up my mind on the next order I'll make, the demon's last words to me still linger in the back of my mind. It was a warning that he'll deal with our dispute inside the throne, as long as Redgrave doesn't get to me first. Chapter 669. Everyone stands before me in newly upgraded gear. Many spent yesterday farming for MCP using my absorption skill in the higher floors of the labyrinth, crafting the highest grade blood-bonded armor they could with A-grade loot, while others rested and waited for these final hours to draw near. While there are thousands of C and B-grade hunters around the 8 great regions and the Dark Continent who would happily put their lives on the line if I had their regional directors give the order, it is best that an elite squad fights on the front lines. The weakest troops from the Central Association and the Demonic Army have red divine cores. Only the Crimson Army and the Inner Circle can handle forces like these. Even Bree and Rodrigo stay behind in the Apex capital with the A-class hunters for now, continuing to spread the word. Having semi-powerful, well-known figures in the public eye bringing me more stats to draw from is a battle of its own. The war shall begin when the sun rises. Be ready for anything. Any last questions? No one speaks, all wearing serious expressions, as the details of our mission were made clear yesterday. Good. Let's move out. With myself and Ember leading our army. Abby, Maria, Raven, and Ahri follow close behind. Luna follows Ahri, while Fisher and Lydia walk beside her. Monk and the Saint, along with his 2 Orange Cord disciples, follow behind them. Finally, the elemental captains lead 3 squads of Crimson Army troops. Our aura lights up the night. Everyone here has been power leveled above level 7000 and have mana control far beyond their level. All their skills are fully upgraded and they're stacked head to toe with high-quality A-grade gear. We have 3 true cores, 3 yellow cores, 2 orange cores halfway to yellow, 2 newly awakened orange cores, 2 demonic soul energy wielders, and 3 dozen elite soldiers wielding elemental energy with mana control far stronger than the perks a mere red core demonic knight has. Above and below, 2 of my body doubles float with us in stealth mode, and 1 trails behind us a few kilometers as well. Our force is less than 25% the size of either of the other 2 forces we're going against, but with over 15.6 million links of loyalty at my disposal, the number ticking upward every second, I feel both nerves, confidence, and excitement flowing through my body. We all stop and float down to the desert floor at the edge of the abyss, now less than 50 kilometers from the base of the tower. To our north in Sector 1, the Demon's troops have begun moving into their own formation, following their commanders and generals as they move toward the abyss just like us. To the west in Sector 3, and to the northwest in Sector 4, forces of about 100 troops each move inward toward the abyss as well. The Vermilion family demon still stays behind a few hundred kilometers away, silently watching the tower, but I vividly remember the speed at which he traveled over to Ahri not too long ago and know he could be with his troops in the blink of an eye if he wished. With his words of wanting to settle our dispute within the throne, all I do now is size up the armies left behind and feel confident my teammates can handle it. The only thing that irks me as we wait in the silence of night is the fact that the big three are nowhere to be seen. Not even a word of them is mentioned by the troops left behind, and I don't get a single reading of them anywhere within thousands of kilometers. Again, as the world sleeps calmly as if this is nothing but another day, three armies stand at a stalemate, waiting for the darkness to completely recede back into the black tower that reaches high into the sky. I constantly scan the surrounding desert, and we slowly move our formation forward, spreading out to cover a few kilometers while following the abyss as it moves closer to the black tower. My all-seeing eye even scans the tower from time to time, but all I get back is a blinding silver light, similar to the golden glow I felt during my conversations with Ember. Even the abyss itself is filled with dense radiation, like intense, invisible gravity waves similar to the time I flew in the sky above the abyss attempting to see the throne up close for the first time. Unlawfully taken from Royal Road, this story should be reported if seen on Amazon. It recedes at the same rate as the black fog, allowing us to get closer, and the sounds of demonic beasts within the abyss fighting and dying can be heard with my enhanced senses, but their bodies and energy are absorbed by the dense fog as it continues to retract. The sun begins to rise, and all of the forces surrounding the tower are less than a kilometer away from its base. Now the pressure coming off the tower does not retract any further, but the black fog continues to do so. Halt! We shall wait here until the throne awakens or another army makes their move. So much about this massive divine artifact is still a mystery to me. I know there are trials within. It is a device used to help demons ascend to become lords or green cores, and it can be used to take control of a world. But my mind races, wondering what exactly will happen once this fog disappears and the throne awakens. The only ones who truly know seem to be the Vermilion family demon and Ember standing by my side. I won't be getting answers out of either of them, so all I can do is wait and prepare for the worst. It feels like hours pass when in reality it's just minutes, and the morning sun slowly heats up the desert while the final bits of dark demonic energy disappear into the bottom of the tower, making a clear view of the open desert sand from where we stand to the base of the smooth black curved wall. All I can hear is my heartbeat and everyone's breaths around me as we wait for something to happen. The tower is tens of kilometers wide, and each army stands on opposite sides a kilometer away from the base, no more than a dozen kilometers away from each other, but no one moving a muscle. I feel the ground vibrate first, but still no one moves. Then the vibrations cease, and the tower before us vibrates, sending out a low hum that grows louder and louder until the entire structure starts to glow with silver divine light. It flashes, and a pulse of energy moves outward like a wave, flying through all of us. Eerily similar to the surges I've felt before, but hundreds of times stronger. It doesn't hurt or do any physical damage to the surroundings, but I'm certain dungeons will be breaking all over the globe as this wave travels further. The visible silver light of the tower fades back to black, and in my vision, I watch the Vermilion demon disappear, reappearing in front of his troops with the corners of his lips curling upward. I send a telepathic message to everyone on the battlefield while pulling out my fire and dark swords. Get ready for anything. It's happening now. At the same time, from the west, 3 wells of gravity, hundreds of times stronger than any true core I've ever felt, come rocketing our way from central headquarters at hundreds of kilometers per second. The ground vibrates again, and the tower lights up with its silver glow a second time, sending another surge throughout the entire world, then fading back to black. This time, the smooth tower walls aren't the same as they were moments ago. In front of me, there is an outline of an archway many kilometers high and wide, and the sliver of space that leads to the inside of the tower glows with the same silver light. My all-seeing eye finds 3 more archways that look exactly the same in front of each of the armies that seek to enter. I watch the demon's leader take a step forward, then point a finger and open a demonic rift right beside himself. An enormous black dragon with a dark purple underside steps out onto the sand, its true core visible in its chest, but its pressure and presence are concealed just like the demon it stands beside, blocking me from reading its true strength or status. The approaching forces from Central veer off in 3 different directions. 2 head toward their armies waiting to greet them, while one of the wells of massive divine energy turns to come right toward me. The ground vibrates more than it ever has before, and the entire tower flashes with silver light, blinding the entire dark continent and sending out a catastrophic surge. When the silver light fades, the entire tower returns to black, save for the 4 arched doorways left behind. Now there is no black door blocking the entry. It is an open silver divine portal leading into the tower. The vermilion demon disappears, and his dragon does too, but the sand is disrupted beneath his flight path as they blast forward, flying straight into the silver light without hesitation. Half of the demons turn to their right, and half turn to their left, holding up their weapons and letting out an immense aura ready for war. I take a deep breath, turn to Ember, and activate my greater form while he fully transforms into his dragon form. Then, send a final wave of telepathy to everyone behind me. I'll do my job inside the tower, and you do yours out here. Let's save the world. We blast forward through the dense gravity surrounding the throne, and I borrow 5% of stats from everyone that isn't on the battlefield now, boosting our speed to travel faster than I've ever moved before. At the same time, I watch a blue, yellow, and white blur of light fall from the sky and enter the central headquarters doorway in Sector 3. My perception picks up the image of a muscular woman riding a 30-meter-long white serpent, but there is so much divine radiation in the air, it's hard to see it clearly. Then, in the doorway facing Sector 4, a black, yellow, and white light rockets toward that door. I can see a slim man in nothing but a black suit riding an armored black horse, but the aura I receive when peering at him for too long is eerie, like a bad dream. Finally, a yellow and red ball of divine energy comes down from the sky, aiming right for the doorway that Ember and I are flying toward. It is a tall, muscular man with red hair and a matching beard, riding a massive hound with vicious eyes and a glowing collar matching the intensity of his true core. Alara and Beckman enter the doors in Sectors 3 and 4 at the exact same moment that Ember and I touch the silver door just above the desert floor. However, the flaming man in the sky makes contact with the silver portal about a kilometer overhead, yelling aloud for all to hear. The time has come. The world is truly at my fingertips. He pulls a long flaming yellow sword from a sheath by his side and points it downward, making eye contact with me and yelling again while both of us phase through the silver portal. Flame Emperor, I've been waiting for you too. You'll be my first battle to celebrate coming out of retirement. I'll warm up by killing you before the first trial even begins. We all disappear into the throne and a fourth and final surge of silver light flashes from the entire tower before the portal-like doors fade and it returns to black. Chapter 670. My vision and senses are filled with a pure silver light and a high-pitched ringing once my full greater form phases through the throne's open door. It feels warm and hot at the same time, similar to a far superior aura of perception moving through me, and it easily bypasses the purple barrier surrounding me like it's not even there. Once the flash of silver ceases, my vision goes black. I expect my senses to go dark as well, but instead, they feel heightened. The outside world is still completely visible to me, in crystal clear clarity. In fact, it's even better than it was before. My perception is being effortlessly boosted without me having to even use any additional mana. The Dark Continent and the 8 great regions aren't the only things I can see and feel. The vast ocean separating this nation from central to the west becomes visible to my senses with ease, and I can see every single human in central headquarters above the flaming mountain. Not only that, I can see even further than I've ever traveled before, to the east, north, and south as well. Hundreds of nations housing tens of millions of citizens each all over the world show up in my senses. Not many of them even have A-class hunters, and even fewer have any divine core holders, as they are not the main powerhouses of the world. But it opens my eyes to the vastness of the world beyond what I've traveled, and the lives of innocent, unaware citizens that I'll be fighting for today. Not only can I feel everywhere the throne's surges have touched, but my senses inside the tower have heightened as well. Ember by my side shows up in my senses in pristine detail, and I can feel the presence of 2 true core monsters above me, entering the tower as well. I feel the walls of the room I've been transported into, over 10 kilometers high and nearly 30 kilometers wide and long. However, I can't sense Alara, Beckman, or the demon that entered the tower at all. Redgrave and the flaming hound he rides on come into full view about a kilometer overhead, and their levels and status beam into my mind, burning with yellow divine light. A bright LV. 19,440 hits my senses from both of them, telling me they must be soul-bonded entities. Over a dozen armor and gear pieces stack all over his body with maxed-out 5-category stat buffs ranging from plus 1,000 to 2,000% each. He still points his flaming yellow blade down at me, and I see fire summoning. Supreme grade on both his and his beast status, while he fully releases his aura to light up the dark room we've been transported into. Time to die, Flame Emperor. I am the strongest divine fire user on this planet. There can only be one. The man's golden armor amplifies his flames, and the hound's color glows bright while it too explodes with a murderous aura even stronger than the intimidation attacks I felt from the demon that engaged with me in the desert. His whole body pulses and expands, creating a massive yellow-white flaming greater form that amplifies his aura by multiple times yet again. My eyes widen, and I don't hesitate to pull a full 32% of stats from 17.7 million links of loyalty to boost both mine and Ember's strength to withstand the wave of flames coming our way. I don't pull from anyone on the battlefield and leave the 3% available for Maria, Ari, and Abby to pull from, as I assume they will be having battles of their own. While they are all strong, the amount of usable stats I would gain from them is minuscule compared to the ringing notifications in my head from the massive stat gains I get from my links all over the nation. Plus 509, 760, 277 strength. Plus 551023, 950 mental strength. Plus 496, 654, 239 defense. Plus 510020, 524 speed. Plus 499, 160, 400 agility. The borrowed MCP surges into the hundreds of trillions as well. It helps, but the power of massive stat boosts, raising my base stats by thousands of times their natural limit, is what really makes up the difference. When the immense wall of yellow flaming aura ripples off my enemies, it is combated with a strong aura of my own, making an ear-piercing static crashing sound that makes it feel like reality itself is bending and breaking between the auras that clash. My aura mimics that of Maria's when we were testing out her powers for the first time, skewing dark crimson in color as there is more mana and soul energy flooding out from me than my true core's threads can even handle tethering to. This tale has been unlawfully lifted from Royal Road. If you spot it on Amazon, please report it. The dark red and yellow flames colliding light up the entire black room, and at the back of it, a 5-kilometer-tall statue of a silver demon with 3 eyes and 9 arms guards the archway of a door that looks very similar to the one we just entered. As our auras collide, a voice rings out in my inner ear that sounds very similar to a system notification but with a more ancient and echoing tone. Silver letters appear in my mind as it speaks, and from the widened eyes and change in heart rate of Redgrave, Ember, and the Flaming Hound, it's clear they can see the message as well. 1 soul-bonded pair per door is permitted. The trials will begin once 1 challenger remains. All 3 eyes on the demonic statue at the back of the massive room glow bright silver, and my vision and senses are blinded again. Once the light and ringing fade, I witness the entire room start to shift and morph before my eyes. The jet-black ceiling turns into a red sky, and the floor below us morphs and shifts into a dark black rocky terrain where spikes and pillars of stone shoot upward, ranging from a few hundred meters up to kilometers high and thick. Sudden deathmatch has begun. Echoes throughout our minds again as the room turns into a massive battlefield with open areas and strategically placed mazes and underground hiding spots, making this look like a natural canyon or dungeon I'd find in the outside world. All of the terrain is made of silver divine threads. It feels very similar to when I looked into the inner makeup of Celia's purple divine construct. The only thing that doesn't change from the original room is the 9-armed silver demonic statue at the back in front of the doorway watching it all. No other sound or ancient system notification follows. All that I hear is the maniacal laughter of Redgrave, who now floats on the opposite side of the room. He sends 2 massive crescents of yellow fire straight at the ceiling and yells out loud again. "This is great. You're actually not that weak. This will be fun." Yes, very fun indeed. He twists his body around in circles, like he's dancing, and sends another wave of yellow flames in a seemingly random direction, while his fiery hound locks eyes with us and opens its mouth to send a pillar of flames our way. The fire escaping these two is easily 3 times as strong as the fire that circled the central capital. I grip my flaming sword and dark magic blade and yell as the pillar of divine fire comes toward us, while Redgrave's last attacks slam against the red sky above and spread all throughout the outer walls of the room. I expected this level of strength at least, but this guy is crazy. An absolute lunatic. I propel myself upward to dodge the incoming flames, while Ember flaps his wings to stay eye level with the hound, sending me a telepathy message. This is a good warm-up for us too. I'll take the pup, you handle the old man. Ember bursts into a massive ball of fire while I fly upward and begin weaving through the black pillars of artificial rocky terrain to hover in front of the red-haired madman that laughs and throws more and more yellow fire at the ceiling above. However, the instant I get to eye level with him, his aura and demeanor completely shift, and he kicks off with a cold and callous stare, charging his blade with an immense amount of divine energy that seems to endlessly pour out from his true core, which trumps mine in size by over 5x the diameter. I tighten my gaze as well, channeling every drop of soul energy and spare divine threads into my weapons, kicking off the air and activating the hexagonal shielding true core trait to add even more protection and power into my dual sword strike. At the top of the room, my dense crimson flames collide with his sharp yellow fire. Our auras clash again, but this time with far more intensity as we're both sending out our most powerful attacks. His yellow blade collides with the hexagon in front of both of my blades at the same time that Ember sends a glistening clear soul energy fire that flows like liquid from his mouth, tethered with true core strands and an absurd amount of mana. Our attacks collide at the same time, sending 2 shockwaves through the top and bottom of the battlefield on impact. A collision like this would have easily decimated the entire Dark Continent in seconds, but nothing within the tower changes at all. The silver demonic statue watches without moving, and the pillars of stone at varying sizes and heights all around withstand the blast and don't budge at all. The 2 streams of flames below stay pushing against each other at seemingly equal strength, while my hexagon of pure divine energy blocks Redgrave's incoming divine sword. I can see his face, bright white smile, and crazy wide eyes close up and personal now. His blade is stopped in mid-air, just meters away from me, but it is still moving forward at a slow rate. His bellowing laugh echoes through the room again while his flames burn brighter and brighter yellow as energy surges out from his core to power his blade. In the next moment, his blade breaks through the defensive barrier, shattering it and letting the full power of his initial attack be released against my 2 swords. I'm pushed back the instant they're hit, and I feel his sun-hot blade piercing into the 2 blood-bonded weapons in my greater form's grasp like they're butter. It's like he's wielding his true core in his hands and swinging it toward me. Despite all the power at my fingertips, he still follows through and sends me flying backward 15 kilometers in the blink of an eye to slam against the back wall of the room. I cough up blood while my vision blurs for a moment. His echoing laughter rings throughout the room, and he goes back to sending seemingly random flaming crescents of divine fire all over the ceiling. That was everything I had. I need to somehow step it up another notch. I mutter to myself while shaking myself out of the brutal impact with the solid wall and bringing my blades up in front of me again to focus my blurry vision. As soon as my full perception comes back to reality to look at the blade marks in my damaged swords, I concentrate my full power into self-regeneration to slowly heal them. The ringing in my ears finally stops as I grit my teeth and watch Ember fend off the hound below. Their initial attacks looked equal, but the overwhelming raw power of the fiery animal's yellow divine flames is beginning to push the soul energy burst from Ember back. I have confidence that Ember can use his trump card to get out of this situation whenever he wishes. There is only one enemy I need to keep my eye on. My gaze tightens on the maniac dancing in the air, and the black originator cube that rotates around me comes into my peripherals, making its usual rounds. However, this time it blinks with divine energy for the first time since I found it in its tomb. Chapter 671. I watched the black cube that Ember called an amplifier pulse with yellow and white light, moving for the first time since I found it underground in its tomb. The static noise of a telepathy channel between myself and the cube flickers in my mind, but the glow fades, and the channel severs less than a second later. I yell at it as the temperature in the room rises, and the flaming attacks Redgrave throws at the ceiling wrap around the rooms outside and come my way at the outer wall. Adam? What was that? Now would be the time to show yourself. I tap the cube with my outstretched sword, but it just bounces off and rotates in the opposite direction like before. I grit my teeth and fly forward before the wall of incoming flames from above hits me, charging up my restored blood-bonded weapons again, racking my brain for new ideas because whatever just happened with the amplifier isn't within my control. My sudden movements snap Redgrave out of his manic dances, and his expression turns cold and focused once again. A streak of divine flames rockets my way, so I do the only thing I can and form my hexagonal defenses again, swinging both my swords at full power to block his strike. My only option is to block. His speed and raw true core power are far stronger than my own. My perception and agility are my only advantage, and all that's good for is finding the optimal path to avoid a fatal blow. Another shockwave of dark red and bright yellow flames erupts through the room's top as my defensive barrier shatters like glass, and both my swords are dug into by his sun-hot blade. It's overwhelmingly powerful, like another true core is grasped in his hands. I can't even use my appraisal skill to understand what the weapon is. It just looks and feels like another entity. If I didn't have to worry about it slicing me in half, I could probably counter and land a hit. These thoughts race through my mind as the blast from our exchange sends me rocketing back again, slamming against the black wall just a few kilometers to the left of where I hit before. It isn't any less painful when my vision blurs as I take the impact and hear Redgrave's echoing laughter in my mind again while he dances around the room, now weaving between the tallest pillar of artificial stone. 2 hits and you're still alive? Now this is good, he yells, coming my way before I can fully heal my blades. I jump off the wall, and in a flash of yellow light, he's curved around a black pillar to appear right beside me again. The sun-hot blade rockets my way faster than I can even raise my blades to block. The half-formed hexagon of divine energy shatters, and I'm hit across the chest by a flaming crescent of fire. I synchronize my air steps and convert the energy I would have used to imbue my swords into a defensive shield in front of my vitals, but I still can't move out of the way in time. I'm sent flying across the entire 30-kilometer-long room again, slamming against multiple immovable pillars of stone, ping-ponging across the battlefield until I hit the other back wall. My body feels numb and hot, as a massive yellow gash rips through my chest plate and opens a divine energy wound deep into my chest, torso, and left leg. However, I'm still conscious enough to finish healing my blades and shake the ringing in my ears away. Redgrave's laughter fills my ears again, and at the same time, I watch the originator cube pulse and blink even brighter than last time. The static telepathy link that almost formed before now opens, and I yell through it. Are you there? My perception watches the entire outside world go about their normal morning, and all the forces outside the tower have powered up and moved into battle formation, waiting for orders or for another force to make their move. I take a deep breath and think, as there is still no response from the amplifier. Unauthorized use. This story is on Amazon without permission from the author. Report any sightings. There isn't even an intuitive feeling or pulse of a response back. The bright white and yellow glow from the cube just fades away to black again. Redgrave's voice echoes through my ears, and I feel the divine injury on my chest burn with hot flames, as it isn't something that's going to be healed by simple self-regeneration. You survived that one too? I think Beckman was wrong about you. You're not weak at all. If we'd met decades earlier, maybe you could have joined the council. He laughs even harder, weaving through the pillars of stone again, his yellow sword glowing bright, ready to attack. My blades have healed, and I have time to position myself for a defensive move this time. His words, paired with the images of hundreds of millions of innocent lives outside the tower, make an idea click in my head. I lock eyes with the flaming man as his focused gaze returns, and I manage to receive his next attack with my hexagonal defense and my blades this time, but he still sends me flying to the far side of the room again. While it hurts more than any injury I've ever taken before, my mind is partially elsewhere, opening up my Rising Emperor's domain, using the instant communication perk to forcefully send a message to every single link of loyalty at my fingertips. If you feel your power has been borrowed, this is why. The battle has begun. I, the Flame Emperor, have started the fight to save this world. You may not believe me yet, or may not even want to, but I'm sending this message out so that all that I've done isn't in vain. The throne's trials haven't even begun, and I'm already being thrown around and toyed with by an enemy who isn't even the main threat. While I'm healing my blades and attempting not to draw any attention to myself until I'm ready to take another hit, Redgrave's manic laughter echoes through the room as he sends waves of fire at the ceiling again. Next, I forcefully activate the Spectate perk on my Rising Emperor's domain. Usually, it would be used for surveillance or for me to give direct orders to subordinates, as using this skill gives me access to their visual and sensory feeds. I used it once before to see through Abby and Maria's eyes after the B-class exams. Smells and even feelings are transmitted through this link. Instead of viewing through my link's eyes, I allow access for every single one of my links to watch through my own, creating a live pop-up feed of my every thought and move in the minds of over 17.7 million humans all over the 8 great regions and Dark Continent. I yell aloud for all to hear through the link. If I die here, this world is in the hands of whoever kills me. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen. I still need your support. I lift my Greater Form's hands to form a defensive barrier and swing my blades while Redgrave turns my way and bellows out a yell. What are you babbling on about? This world was never yours. It's been mine. All mine. For centuries. His blade collides with mine again, carving chunks out of the blood-bonded weapons and sending me flying tens of kilometers with a blast of divine light. As I slam against the wall, I see the amplifier glow again, but I ignore it, as the feeling of millions of eyes watching me takes precedence, and I want to take advantage of that attention while I have it. I yell for all to hear. That's right. The association has used us all. To put it simply, all the strongest nations in the world right now are fighting over an artifact that either means the end or salvation of the human race as we know it. My words are cut off again before I can heal my swords, so I have to take this attack head-on again, leaving another massive gash across my chest while Redgrave laughs and yells back. Oh, you must be talking to that dragon. What a shame, you're already delusional. I was getting excited that I would have even more time to play. It looks like your time is up, and you're right. The Hunters Association is mine. The citizens of your 8 great regions and Dark Continent are nothing more than sacrifices for my ideal world. He laughs again, sending divine flames at the ceiling while flying my way and yelling again. You know what? They're even more insignificant than that. When I control the throne, I will make your lands and everyone in them burn to ash just to celebrate. You think you can protect them? They are all my people. Their lives are mine. Today, the Flame Emperor dies, and I, Redgrave, shall conquer the throne and become this world's god. He weaves between pillars of stone faster than ever before, and I don't have the time to heal my blades while simultaneously dealing with the second near-fatal gash on my chest. The wide, crazy eyes of the red-haired man come into full view as his greater form swings at me with the bright blade shining hot with a true core's light. I kick myself off the wall anyway and swing both my damaged blades at the larger-than-life divine flame user coming at me. I have no way of dodging, and my swords can't handle another hit. Still, I block, twisting my body to make the odds of my survival as high as possible. Redgrave's sword swings across his body at me, and I feel the millions of eyes peering through mine. Many still don't grasp the enormity of this situation at all, but every moment that passes, more begin to understand that today is not just like any other day. As the yellow blade shatters my hexagonal barrier, instead of making contact with my blades, it collides with the bright yellow cube that rotates around me, and the eruption of gravity waves and static noise that follows makes all past collisions pale in comparison. Even the flames of the Hound and Ember down below us are extinguished and blown away by the blast of energy. I'm sent flying backward from the absurdity of the shockwave's force. As my back slams against the wall like many times before, I grin this time while coughing up blood because across the room, Redgrave's eyes are wide open as he too makes impact with a pillar of rock, unable to control the momentum that pushed him back. I feel both my blades finally heal back up to their natural state. But the amplifier that usually rotates around my body now stands still between the tips of both swords. My craftsmanship skill instinctively pulls at my consciousness, and my true core pours threads into the two blades as I see a yellow system message hover over all three items. Craft soul weapon. Yes. No. Chapter 672. 177429991 people simultaneously receive a notification on their status and a gentle pull at the back of their consciousness, connecting them to a live video and sensory feed of what is happening inside the Black Tower at the center of the Dark Continent. Some wake up with a lifelike movie playing in the back of their mind, unaware of what the link of loyalty they made on a whim for an extra stat boost was, but now they're beginning to see the whole picture. Others are at a family breakfast table or out and about in the streets on their way to work, and now almost 1 in every 3 people see this live feed pop up in their mind's eye. The major cities in the 8 great regions and Dark Continent all stand still for a moment in time as the raw emotions and 360-degree view of the battle scene before them is shared. Those that do not share the link begin asking questions and wonder what they're missing out on, as it seems mass hysteria has captured the nation. Even surrounding the Black Tower, all of the Crimson Army and Inner Circle receive this link as they all stand on guard with bated breath, waiting for their enemies to make a move. Now, they too see what is happening within the tower. The sudden jolt in aura and movement from the Crimson Army prompts the demonic forces to act. The 2 strongest true core generals stand beside each other. One stands 7 m tall with a long black spear in hand that matches the obsidian gloss of his horns. The other, with shimmering bronze horns, standing an identical height of 7 m with daggers all over his waist, speaks up to his fellow true core. The new lord has entered the throne. The Vermilion Empire has grown its reach by another world. Today will be a great day. Our reputation in the 5 great families shall rise. The Blackhorn true core nods, staring at the Crimson Army and focusing on Raven. Yes, but we must do our job on the outside while our lord secures the throne. That force has a very strong true core of their own. The bronze-horned dagger wielder stares at the massive forces of the Central Association, as they have about half a dozen mid-level yellow cores. Call me if your squad needs backup. The 2 groups that came from a foreign land won't take long. Remember, our orders were to keep the strong in line and only kill them if they're going to be a threat in the future or uncooperative. The black-horned spear wielder grins. It won't be a problem. I can always unseal the Vermilion bloodline if I'm in a bind. Both head demon generals erupt with the full power of their true core's aura and give orders to the remaining 4 high-level yellow core generals, who yell out orders to their lower ranks one by one. The forces split into 2 groups and move out to subjugate the human race. Meanwhile, inside the throne, yellow text hovers before my eyes in front of my 2 swords and the bright glowing originator artifact that just blocked Redgrave's sword. Craft soul weapon. Yes. No. Past my blades, I see Redgrave shaking himself out of the impact he's made with the rock about 15 kilometers away, and hear an angry, rage-filled yell come out of him that sends ripples of divine energy pulsing through the entire room. I know I have to act fast, but I've never heard of this term soul weapon before. Both of my blades are selected as the base material within my mythic grade craftsmanship interface, but there are no external pop-ups explaining what this craft will do. The amplifier is selected as the power source, similar to if I were to use an element stone with a normal craft. However, I can feel my true core pouring energy into this entire process, similar to using mana crystals as a catalyst for a craft. It all seems far above the capabilities a simple skill like craftsmanship should be able to do, but just like the time I exposed myself to large amounts of green divine threads in my body and the system itself began to mutate as a result of it, this feels just the same. Unauthorized usage. This narrative is on Amazon without the author's consent. Report any sightings. I need something to bring my abilities to the next level, and my current weapons can't handle the abuse they've been taking much longer. Any more of this and they could take on divine energy wounds that need far longer to heal or, in the worst-case scenario, permanently break. As Redgrave's angry yells cease and his gaze turns to me again, I press yes without delaying any longer. The red and black blades begin to fill with energy from my true core, saturating them far more than they ever have in battle, beyond their limits, while the yellow cube floats closer to the center between the blades. I feel the swords begin to pull toward the cube between them with a force of gravity of their own, and I instinctively let go while divine threads continue to flood out from my fingertips to power the process taking place. The two blades begin to spin around the cube and shine brighter and brighter, giving off the shine and gravity signature of a newly forming true core. I watch in awe as they spin faster, getting closer together, while Redgrave kicks off the stone structure at the back of the room to stop whatever I'm doing and attempt to end this fight. Shockwaves erupt from the bottom of the room as well, as Ember fends off the Bloodhound relentlessly, sending flames his way. The two rotating swords spin so fast and shine so bright, it's hard to see where each one is, and I can't even see the exact location of the originator artifact. I can only make a guess based on the dense center of gravity pulling this craft together. Redgrave yells at the top of his lungs while swinging his sword across his body my way. This is it. You're finished. Not only am I going to obliterate the 8 great regions and Dark Continent, I'll slaughter every one of those Divine Chord allies you've been nurturing below the Crimson City. Beckman wanted to keep them as farming slaves, but I'll give them a fate worse than that, because you scratched my new armor against that rock. His laugh and crazed stare return as he gets up close again, and at the same time, a pulse of incredibly dense divine energy and dark red energy explodes out from the center of the 3 objects that I set out to merge. My reflexes take over, as there's only a fraction of a second to spare. I jump off the wall and grab the object from within the aura of divine energy, and swing it across my body while positioning myself to receive the least lethal strike if all still fails. However, my safety measures aren't necessary. Both of my hands grasp around a glossy dark red longsword. Its color changes like it's alive, shifting from black to red to yellow to even white as my true core instantly synchronizes with the blade in my hand, as if it's an extension of my own body. My system interface picks up a glimpse of its new status reading, stored in my subconscious. Divine Emperor's Soul Sword, Soul Bonded, Evolution Attribute, LV, 0, Fire Affinity, Dark Affinity, plus 2769% Strength, plus 2518% Mental Strength, plus 2502% Speed, plus 2240% Agility, plus 2149% Defense. It collides with the hot yellow blade that Redgrave wields, and we're both trapped in midair with equal force. The eruption of raw red and yellow flames intertwined with gravity waves that comes off it is even more brutal than our last exchange. The old man's crazed gaze locks with mine, and when my sword withstands the blow of the attack, and a surge of hundreds of thousands of new links of loyalty stats come flooding into my body, I have just the extra push I need to deflect the incoming strike. I twist my body out of the way to swing again and counter with a slash that lands a gash across the massive greater form's chest. We're both sent flying back again by the shockwave, but this time I'm not injured at all. It's my laugh that echoes through the room now, sending ripples of fear through the self-proclaimed strongest divine fire magic user in the world. While the counter I sent his way hardly made it through his armor and only left a small scratch on his real skin, it is the first injury this man has felt in decades. I yell back while jumping off the wall, amplifying my flame's heat, and letting more and more True Core's threads flood into the upgraded weapon in my grasp. I'm going to do a lot more than scratch that armor of yours. If you're one of the newest links that just joined the show, I thank you for the push. Today's series of battles have just begun. Redgrave grits his teeth and holds his sword tight again, but doesn't build up enough momentum to properly block my incoming strike. As our swords clash again, he's sent flying to the opposite corner of the room, as he's blocked my attack at an awkward angle, and his mind is shaken from the absurdity of my upgrade mid-fight. Without having to waste time healing myself after every exchange, I immediately kick myself off the nearest rock structure and follow his flight path to send another strike his way with no mercy, going straight for the vitals as fast as I can. There's another explosion of flames as he blocks me, still with superior overall strength on his side, but I position my strike to send him flying into the nearest rock structure. Then, spin around it to land another hit on one of his exposed legs, melting through his blood-bonded armor again, and leaving another small divine wound on his flesh. Every few seconds, I feel more links of loyalty forming as a great surge of people not wanting to miss out on the odd shared phenomena spreads like wildfire. Even so, in the pace that this battle is taking place, I still won't be stronger than my enemy before it's over. I have to rely on the momentum I have now and my superior agility and perception. With a grin across my face, with eyes wide mimicking the crazed state of the man that threatened my life and everything I hold dear, I yell out again while sizing up my next strike. What was that? You said you'd do what to my inner circle? And what was it that you were going to do to the nations of people I vowed to protect today? Redgrave is thrown back again as I hit him at an awkward angle, and I manage a secondary swing that rips through his chest plate again, leaving another gash. There's no response from my taunt, as the old man's fiery, crazed, playful attitude is completely gone. I land 7 more hits over the next half a minute, but this is over 20 exchanges, as it gets harder and harder to land the perfect shot. His eyes show hints of fear and despair, but this emotion fades too. His aura grows more callous and his mind becomes more focused after each of our exchanges. My instincts tell me I need to finish this fast, as the longer I put off landing a fatal hit, the more time this multi-century-old battle master will have to remember his prime and truly come out of retirement as he said he would. Chapter 673. Another dozen exchanges pass, and neither of us lands a single hit on the other. Redgrave's advantage at the start, as I had a weaker set of weapons, has been nullified. And now, the element of surprise is no longer to my advantage as the Divine Flame user is fully focused and waiting for me to slip up. 2 massive Divine Energy wounds burn in my chest, while 10 smaller slashes glow all over Redgrave. All over this side of the world, more and more people are stopped in place, pausing their usual morning tasks to watch the movie playing in the back of their minds. My understanding of the scenes playing out is transmitted to their subconscious minds, allowing them to receive a high level of perception of my surroundings. Even if this wasn't an extreme life-or-death battle, the clarity with which I'm looking into my surroundings would already be jaw-dropping. Even the speed at which I'm processing changing variables is transferred to the viewer's minds in a digestible manner. The looks of awe and amazement on family members and friends prompt tens of thousands more links to rush in every few seconds, not wanting to miss out on the world-shaking event happening, or at the very least to be entertained. The pairs of eyes watching me surpass 18 million, and rise with every exchange, adding more base stats to every strike I throw. Not only this, but I become far more proficient with my new blade. It is longer, heavier, and sharper than any sword I've ever used before. But with every hit, I feel more confident throwing more deadly strikes. Redgrave also falls into his own rhythm, digging deep into the depths of his mind to remember the old days when he was fighting to the top to become one of the 3 strongest figures in this world, even before it was connected to the system. His calculated gaze grows sharper, and the energy pouring out of his core grows hotter and more precise. Our rate of improvement feels equal, as both of us are raising the stakes after every exchange. The old man's anger deep down grows, as he feels he should be the superior fighter by a long shot. It's masked well, but after another dozen clashes without either of us even landing a single hit on one another, his rage comes out, and he yells again, but not at me. Hey Mutt! Ignore that overgrown lizard and help me take this imposter down. I have trials to complete. I can't be wasting my energy on this warm-up. A ripple of fear comes out in his yell as he looks down at the battle below, and I take advantage of his plea for help to land another light slash on his midsection. I grin and kick off the air to follow the old man. Down below, Ember shows off a toothy grin as well, realizing I've turned the battle around and put all of the odds in my favor. The fiery hound that Ember has been trading equal blows with turns its gaze toward me, and its collar burns bright yellow, mimicking the true core glow that Redgrave's sword gives off. The flames that erupt from the monstrous hound's mouth are many times hotter and stronger than its past ones, and a yellow aura surrounds its body, showing off a greater energy form manifesting around it. The massive wall of flames sent Ember's way is meant as a distraction as the bloodhound jumps upward toward me, attempting to keep me occupied while Redgrave gets a hold of himself to send a fatal blow my way. However, Ember's words before the match began give me confidence that I can focus on my own fight. He would take care of the pup and I handle the old man. I air-step forward without caring to defend against the approaching fiery dog at all. My gaze and blade are completely focused on Redgrave as I land another hit on his side as he's off guard again. The reaction to my hit isn't the same, as his confident fiery attitude returns even while he's sent flying backward into the black wall. His laughter and mocking tone echo throughout the room while I lunge toward him again, with the bloodhound approaching from my back at a fast rate. This is it, you can't dodge both of us. Your measly hits will be a reminder for me to keep my guard up when I climb the tower. I'll still feel these fresh scars when I watch your people burn. This book was originally published on Royal Road. Check it out there for the real experience. His eyes widen with his excited, crazed stare as I swing my sword across my body, and the hound's open maw is aimed for my exposed back. Right before its jaws clamp down on me to stop me from swinging at Redgrave, the yellow wall of flames from below that covered Ember pulses and ripples, then parts entirely. A flash of light beams upward, and a massive dragon's set of claws covered in silver divine light makes contact with the throat of the fiery hound's greater form. It's sliced through like butter, leaving bone-deep claw marks in its flesh and shattering the yellow collar around its neck. Crimson blood explodes from the wound, and the greater form of the hound is broken while it's sent flying upward from the impact to smash against the red artificial sky above. I continue my forward slash while Redgrave's excited gaze turns to fear, and he uses the last few milliseconds to move his sword in front of mine to try and block. Too late. I yell into his consciousness while twisting my body and completely avoiding his blade to land a direct hit on his right leg. Without any proper preparation to block, other than the last-ditch effort with his sword, my attack slices cleanly through, crippling him on the spot. The intensity of the clashing divine flames in the room incinerates the severed flesh before it even falls to the ground. His murderous roar is horrific, but that doesn't deter me from kicking off the air again to land a counter and leave a deeper gash across his chest before we're both sent flying back. His greater form allows him to create a phantom limb, so our battle isn't over just yet. But both of us know that was the deciding factor, and the rage-filled flames and incoherent yells he lets out like a kid throwing a tantrum say it all. Ember soars upward with a single set of claws glowing silver with a calm expression on his face, while I rocket myself forward with the same precision and patience as any other attack, and the slow grind continues. Redgrave's excess energy is now allocated to forming an extra leg, while his mental state is broken again. I land light hits almost every exchange, landing 34 more divine slashes all over his torso, back, and arms over the next 40 collisions. Confusion, stress, and fear ripple out of the man that was on top of the world just minutes ago as my strength continues to rise, and his fatigue and blood loss become worse. The fiery hound's amplifier of a collar has been shattered, and it has to rely on its true core's strength alone. Ember doesn't miss a single shot, toying with the pup, leaving claw marks all over its body while sending it flying into pillars and walls with no mercy for its pain-filled howls. Redgrave's anger takes over, and he loses all focus while yelling out loud as he realizes his end is truly near. Beckman, you were wrong. You're never wrong. This isn't right. I'm the strongest. He sends waves of fire at the ceiling while his greater form grows and his tantrum gets louder. I land an easy hit on his left shoulder, as he's not even blocking properly anymore, and slice it clean off, sending it to spiral downward and burn to nothingness in the flames while he yells even more. I'm the strongest divine fire user. I can't die. It's impossible. I'll burn this entire world to ash to prove it. The prophecy, the man of flames will be the one to walk through the final door. It's me. This is a dream. This isn't happening. His yells are cut short again as I push myself off another nearby pillar and cleanly slice off his last remaining leg, then bounce off the closest wall and slice off the final defending sword-wielding arm without taking another breath. My mind's eye watches Ember pin the flaming hound to the floor on the opposite side of the room and swipe his claws across its neck to decapitate it, finishing the final blow. At the same time, while the glowing yellow sword falls to the floor with the defenseless man's burning limbs, I air-step off the air to look the delusional angry man in the eyes while plunging my sword forward into his chest. Once I feel the soul sword pierce his true core, I finally speak again. You were right, this was a good warm-up. 1 down, 3 to go. There's a final burst of yellow flames that erupts from Redgrave's greater form, but his mind has become too fractured, and his decades of prophecy-driven fantasies of becoming a god have made him far too delusional to even accept the reality in front of him. I shove my blade deeper into his core, shattering it, and thrusting upward to finish the kill. His screams vibrate through my body, but I don't feel sorry even for a fraction of a second, as this quick death is a blessing compared to what he taunted he would do to my empire. Level up notifications ring in my ears from both Ember's kill and mine. Plus, absorption pop-ups show in my mind's eye as an absurd amount of true core threads is siphoned out of the greater energy form I've killed and enter my own. I feel my core grow in size by over 5 times, and the amount of divine threads coursing through my body multiplies enough to finally fill out my entire greater form to handle the hundreds of millions of borrowed stats coursing through my veins. Level up, X4638. Use absorption. Skill, fire summoning. Upgrade. Supreme. Yes. No. Use absorption. MCP. 5,988,728,288,427,550. Yes. No. Use absorption. Stat. Strength. Points. 9,941. Yes. No. I reach LV. 12,589 and press yes to accept an upgraded version of my fire magic, almost 10,000 strength stats, as well as a massive amount of mana control while the innate understanding of a new true core ability flows into my mind. Without even trying to activate it, the flames that surround my body become hotter and they're tethered with true core threads with such ease it feels like the fire is made of divine energy, and mana isn't even their base anymore. The room fills with flames as both my power and Ember's power instantly skyrocket, and all the remaining flesh and weak gear from our enemies is burned away. The 3 eyes of the silver statue at the back of the room pulse with silver light again, and the massive pillars of stone and red sky of a battlefield start to shift and revert back to their black natural state. The only thing left is the yellow blade Redgrave was wielding, fractured pieces of a collar, and a massive red burning firestone in place where the corpse of the hound was under Ember's claws. I can feel my blade drawn toward all 3 of these items in an odd way, tugging at the back of my consciousness, wanting to consume them. However, one last notification that I haven't touched yet still lingers at the back of my mind and keeps my attention. Rank up. Yes. No. Chapter 674. I hover down to the ground as the artificial sky turns dark, and the pillars of stone mold back into the floor. A bright rank-up notification glows in my mind's eye, waiting to be accepted, while my soul sword feels the presence of 3 items drawing me closer to them. One feeling is far more compelling, so I fly down to hover above Redgrave's still bright yellow glowing sword, which gives off the heat of a true core even when its wielder is dead. A new system panel hovers between my blade and the glowing one on the ground as I descend. Consume. Yes. No. When I press yes and the 2 artifacts touch, the yellow blade on the floor glows bright white, turning to silky yellow liquid before my eyes, then siphoning into the tip of my own sword. I expected a dramatic light show and process like when the weapon was crafted, but it all happens extremely fast. The blade in my grasp gives off the feeling that it is still hungry, and a food source like that hardly quelled its appetite. My sword feels stronger already, but the ease with which it consumed another living weapon, and the fact that it is still sitting at LV 0, makes me realize I've yet to comprehend the potential of the new weapon in my grasp. This feeling of awe and wonder only grows as I walk over to the supreme grade firestone densely packed with divine threads and immense power. It, too, is consumed in less than a second. Even the pile of glowing yellow shards from the fiery hound's collar turns to liquid and is pulled into my blade without any light show or sense of satisfaction. It's as if the blade was expecting to finally quench its thirst after days in the desert, but all it got was a single drop of water. Power surges through the now vibrant red sword, but it's desperately craving another battle. The blade's status still reads LV 0 even now, but I can feel that its strength has grown a considerable amount in the last few minutes. Once the last drop from the collar disappears, the blade goes dormant, falling back to a solid black state. Yet I sense the presence of a static connection through my body and mind as it continues watching through my eyes. I let out a sigh and power down my greater form as the heat in the room dissipates. An ember flies over, powering down his greater form as well. We both stand in the center of the massive black room with nothing but the silver demon statue looking down at us. The same ancient voice reverberates in my mind while silver text flashes before me. All conditions met. One soul-bonded pair remaining. Would you like to start the trials? Yes. No. It shimmers in a metallic silver font, wavering in the air. When I look away, the text is locked above the statue's head, right in front of its array of 9 arms. Ember reads it too, then grins and looks over to me. We can wait as long as we need to before beginning the first trial. The third rank up isn't always instant. It may take a few minutes if it's a big one. It's best we take the time to rank up now while we still have that luxury. I nod and sit down on the empty floor, letting go of my soul sword, and it rotates around me in a dormant state without me having to exert any effort whatsoever. Ember sits down in an identical position about 100 meters away, and I speak up, feeling over 18 million pairs of eyes still watching in shock after the massacre they just witnessed. As I said before, this is just the start of today's fight. The opponent I just defeated is likely to be my easiest win. I'm not going to be able to do this without your help. You can hear me, see my actions, even peer into my system notifications, and feel everything I'm feeling. I'm going to take a moment to rest and rank up. The only thing I ask of you is to spread the word. Whether it's for entertainment while watching the show, or you feel obligated to save this world together, tell a family member, send a transmission to a friend outside of the 8 great regions or dark continent. We'll need every link we can get. Stolen from its rightful author, this tale is not meant to be on Amazon. Report any sightings. Then I press yes to rank up. Instantly, a familiar white light washes over me. Mana and divine energy cycle through my body, creating a warm and satisfying sensation all over. Takes a few minutes, just as Ember said it would. My calm resting state is broken by the sound of notifications in my mind. Plus 10,000 strength. Plus 10,000 mental strength. Plus 10,000 speed. Plus 10,000 agility. Plus 10,000 defense. New buff. Divine Elemental's astral form. Once I open my eyes again, all of my fatigue is gone, and even the 2 divine energy wounds on my chest have almost completely healed. I take a deep breath in and out while standing to my feet and opening my status to see a brand new buff. My eyes shift over to Ember and I see he's received a new buff as well. Divine Dragon's astral form. My eyebrows raise as my voice echoes through the empty room. What's an astral form? It looks like we both received one. He replies while staring up at the silver demonic statue. It's far rarer than a greater energy form. I believe you met one while we were inside that purple construct. Rarely does more than one entity per planet receive a form like this. I've had one before. This room will be too confined to show off its full power, but it will certainly help us during these trials if we run into a problem. It will be very straining to use this while we're yellow cores. It won't be worth the fatigue and strain to even test it out. I grin, remembering the green serpent, Cyan Knights, and enormous dark blue giant that I witnessed within that construct, and think of how strong I'd be with a form like that. Then, my eyes track back down to the skill section of my status, and I see I have enough PP to upgrade a mythic grade skill to the next rank. I upgrade Absorption without much extra thought, and the mythic grade tag beside it turns to Divine Grade. My eyes skim over the section that shows my ability to now upgrade every single one of my current mythic grade skills to Divine Grade after killing an entity with the same skill. Even my superior grade elemental skills can all be upgraded to Supreme Grade if I kill anything sharing that skill, no matter the grade. Another text box hovers at the bottom of the skill info, right above the upgrade option. Pair skill for additional perks. It shimmers in white and yellow divine light, while the rest of my status remains blue. I press it, and the entire info sheet ripples with yellow threads, spreading throughout my status interface and turning the absorption skill completely yellow. A new text box where the pairing option sat before now shows up. All new skills upgraded to Divine Grade or higher using absorption will now create unique true core abilities for the caster. My eyes widen again. In the last few minutes since defeating Redgrave, my strength and abilities have grown an astronomical amount. The overwhelming power that demon from the Vermilion family showed before I entered the tower is far less intimidating, and instead of uncertainty, the only emotion flowing through me as I look up at the silver statue is excitement to begin the trials ahead. I smirk and grab my sword out from its rotation around me and press, yes, on the silver message in the sky. The text above ripples and disappears. Then new silver lettering forms and the ancient voice speaks again. Enter the trial area. A portion of the floor glows with silver light, right in front of the demonic statue at the back of the room. The text fades, and both Ember and I fly forward, activating our greater forms with caution to enter the multi-kilometer-wide circle before the massive silver demon. The circle stops glowing once we stand in the center of it, but a faint silver outline still shimmers, showing the borders as we stand in the middle, looking directly up at the towering silver masterpiece. Speaks again. Rules of the trials. Rule 1. You may leave any time you wish. As these words enter my consciousness, a floating silver text box hovers in front of my eyes, tracking my vision. Leave the trials. Yes. No. I press NO, and it fades away, but afterward I'm left in silence. The thought of the text box wanders into my mind again, and it reappears. I press NO, and it fades just like before, proving its point. The voice returns. Rule 2. Death within the trials is final. Your body, energy, and property are forfeited to the Tower Master. This could have been assumed, but my mind wanders back to the time I was in Celia's construct again. Death within that pocket world was not final. Entities that died were simply transported out. It seems this construct is different. Rule 3. The third and final trial will only begin once all participants have cleared the two below, have left the tower, or have died trying. This message conveys quite a lot of information, indicating there are 3 trials in total, and confirming that this third and final trial likely requires all remaining members within the tower present. The demon's confidence that we would settle things within the tower makes far more sense now. The room falls silent again as the silver text completely dissipates, but the silver energy quickly returns as the 3 eyes of the demon statue at the back of the room shine bright, though it doesn't completely blind me this time. The silver light just pulses outward and ripples through both mine and Ember's bodies as if it's performing an appraisal. The text paired with the voice returns. Trial 1, Body. Calculating necessary difficulty. The bright silver text that reads, Body, stays hovering over the demon's head, while all other text fades away. Then, in the grasp of each of the demon's hands, silver longswords start to form from left to right. One by one, all 9 hands of the demon form massive silver swords in their grasps. Difficulty calculated. Trial 1. Round 1 of 9 shall commence. Objective: block the incoming strike. As this text fades, 8 of the 9 silver blades disappear, but 1 remains. The demon's head doesn't move, but I can feel its 3 silver glowing eyes staring deep within me. Then, the kilometer-long arm holding the single massive silver blade comes swinging down toward us. Chapter 675. Ember's voice echoes through my mind as the silver blade comes down toward us. Block it. This first round shouldn't be difficult with the new power we've gained. Despite these words, I can't sense the blade's true power. It is tens of times longer than my greater form's rendition of my soul weapon, yet I still act as if this is a deadly strike, putting almost everything I have into a block, even activating the hexagonal defensive array in front of my blade while swinging upward. Ember grins and flies up to block with a clawed hand as well, but he doesn't even use the silver energy he did while attacking the fiery hound in our last fight. When the city-sized blade crashes down to slam against my barrier and Ember's claw, I feel its immense pressure, but it stops with ease, not even making it a quarter of the way through my defenses. A massive silver 3, 2, 1, 0 floats in the sky, and as the zero dissipates, so does the entire sword pushing down on us. The demon's arm moves back upward into its dormant position, and new text appears. Round 2 of 9 shall commence. The same demon's arm grows a new silver blade, and on the opposite side of the statue, a second silver blade forms right after. The first sword that formed instantly flies downward, and Ember's voice sounds in my mind again, his tone a bit more serious than the last transmission. Brace for impact. My defenses from the last round haven't even dissipated, so I just imbue more divine energy to restore the hexagon and stare upward, ready for another strike. That hit was strong, but really nothing I can't handle. Even if I didn't block it and took it straight on my chest, I doubt it would have left a mark larger than the first blow I took from Redgrave. That being said, with my true core being over 5 times stronger now, multiplying my absurd boost in stats even higher, it may have given me a new skewed perspective on what is really powerful or not. Just minutes ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to block that sword without using my full power. Still, in the back of my mind now, I question whether or not I'm overestimating these trials. Maybe Redgrave really was the strongest of the big 3, and I already fought the toughest battle today. These brief thoughts are instantly discarded as the blade from above slices through over 3/4 of my hexagonal barrier, proving to be far more lethal than the first round. Before I even piece this thought together, the second arm swings downward too, following a mirrored flight path and coming down on the exact pressure point to fuse with the first sword. Together, they press downward and shatter my hexagonal barrier with ease, now clashing blade on blade with my soul weapon's greater form and Ember's set of claws. 3, 2, 1, 0. The 2 swords disappear once the countdown stops, and I immediately restore my energy as quickly as possible to prepare for the next attack while turning to Ember. What was that? The sword got stronger, and there were 2. Is it going to get exponentially harder each time? Ember finally readies his claws with silver divine threads while replying. I've never faced this exact trial before, so your guess is as good as mine. There may be one problem, though. It calibrated the strength difficulty based on both of our potentials, not just yours. So, prepare to push yourself to a new limit. That fight we just had really was a light warm-up. The next round's text glows in the air as soon as Ember's words cease. 3 blades on the demon statue manifest in its grasp, and the first comes swinging down mere seconds after the last round. My gaze becomes fully focused on the statue overhead, and instead of just blocking, I jump upward, matching Ember's technique, and my soul sword pulses red for the first time since it consumed the leftover artifacts, as now it senses this will be a real challenge and it is intrigued. The only thing on my mind is stopping the silver blade coming my way as I swing my sword upward and activate my hexagonal defenses, paired with releasing a wave of divine flames using my true core's new divine fire ability. This narrative has been unlawfully taken from Royal Road. If you see it on Amazon, please report it. Even so, my barrier is shattered by the first silver sword like it's glass. Ember makes contact with the blade with 2 sets of claws covered in identical silver light, but it doesn't slow it down. We're both pushed down to the black floor in the center of the testing circle. I can feel the weight of the blade, tens of times stronger than in the first round. The second sword moves the instant we get comfortable, and when it slams downward to combine with the first, I feel shockwaves vibrating through my bones. My telekinesis skill activates, as well as my mana manipulation, wind magic, and all of my gravity control abilities turn on as well, pushing upward on the blade with every trick I have to keep it from moving downward any further. Ember lets out a roar and sends a pillar of dense flames from his mouth to push the blade upward as well. It pushes against the sharp side where we block at the same time that the third and final sword comes crashing down. The imagery of Palmyra falling from the sky flashes back into my mind, but this is so many times heavier, as if the stone was made of pure iron, and a giant demonic god is above applying telekinesis to combat my own to crush us, the bugs below. Numbers count down in the sky, but I don't even pay attention to them. I just use every bit of strength and energy to hold the 3 silver blades back. They dissipate once the numbers hit 0, and the massive red and yellow crescent of flames that had been held back in my blade rockets upward, and so does Ember's fiery beam of light. As the 3 arms move back to their start position, and the message for round 4 blinks in the sky, I turn to Ember while breathing heavily. If we have 6 more of these rounds, you're going to need to use that golden light. He cuts me off as the swords begin to form in the demon's hands, 2 on each side. My power is sealed for good reason. I can only use so much before we leave this realm. Small bits of silver threads can be used now that I'm a true core, but any more and I'd be out of commission for quite a while like last time. The first sword of the 4th round begins to move down, and his eyes become extremely serious, while a bright yellow glow starts to expand around him. Activate your astral form. This one won't be pretty if we take it on like this. I stare upward at the incoming blade and do as he says. Outside the tower, the moment I began the trials, the throne flashes silver and everyone, demons and humans surrounding it, received an identical message in their vision. All challengers have entered. The trials have begun. Simultaneously, a massive transparent dome of silver light, hundreds of kilometers high and thousands of kilometers wide, erupts from the midpoint of the tower up in the sky and creates a force field of strange energy around the desolate desert where the abyss used to cover the lands. The Bronzehorn demon takes this cue to bring half of the demon forces, containing 2 high-level yellow cores, half a dozen orange cores, and over 100 red cores, to challenge the Central Association's forces that don't even have a single fighter above a mid-level yellow core. The Blackhorn demon, wielding a mysterious long spear, eyes Raven up and down for a few seconds while the other head general leaves, then gives the orders to his identical battle squad to move out toward the Crimson Army and Inner Circle. Everyone's auras are semi-concealed, as the generals on the battlefield know if they were to push their pressure on their subordinates, they would all be knocked unconscious before the battle even began. This is evident as many yellow flashes of light simultaneously burst upward into the sky, away from the tower at a 45-degree angle in varying directions. Half a dozen yellow cores from the Association squad collide with the 3 generals from the Demon squad deep into the dead zone of Sector 3, and the Bronzehorn demon dagger wielder watches his 2 underling generals toy with the Association's remaining strongest troops like mice. The commanders and demonic knights charge toward the 2 groups of Central Association workers and wield foreign demonic soul energy strengthened by divine energy that overpowers every single one of the humans in less than 15 seconds. They don't go for the kill, mostly immobilizing or knocking out the humans as per their orders, because once the world is conquered, strong humans will be necessary for labor. Meanwhile, the Blackhorn spear user and Raven fly the furthest away, toward the silver barrier's edge in Sector 2, almost 1,000 kilometers away, before they release their true core's auras. The demon doesn't immediately attack, but still cautiously looks at her with his arms crossed, and the spear spinning around his body slowly. He speaks while grinning to show his sharp white teeth. You're the strongest one left on this planet, it seems. All of your leaders that could have taken us out will be killed inside the throne. Our Lord Vermilion is destined for unfathomable greatness. The humans of this world are doomed. It would be in your best interest to give up now before I make you wish you died with your leader. Raven pulls out her 2 silver blades, pointing them forward with sharp eyes. I could say the same to you. Put down your spear now and I'll make your death quick and painless. At the same time, 2 massive mana-dominated divine auras ripple outward from Sector 1, as Abby and Maria both pull from the 1% borrowed stats available to them from over 18 million links of loyalty to combat the 2 high-level yellow cores that follow them. 2 more strong purple auras ripple out from near the tower, as Ari promotes Luna to a commander, and she gains 0.25% borrowed stats, while 13 enormous demonic eyes appear in the sky. Ari uses the remaining 0.75% borrowed stats to power up his greater archer form, and use the link through Luna's eyes to watch the Association's troops being decimated. Simultaneously, he keeps an eye on the second squad of approaching orange and red demonic forces. His strongest arrow is pulled back, ready to kill with pinpoint accuracy within milliseconds. Fisher and Lydia lead the Crimson Army into battle to take on the demonic forces 4 times their size. Monk, the Saint, and the 2 orange core disciples glow white, growing and activating unique chi-powered greater forms to follow close behind the Crimson Army's troops. My 3 doubles hover above them all, ready to take on red-cored demonic knights and sacrifice these mana manifestations if necessary to save my allies. Raven and the Blackhorn demon are the first to collide, silver blades against a long black spear. sending an ominous divine energy ripple throughout the entire silver dome, signifying that the battle outside the throne has begun. Chapter 676. I activate my new ranked-up buff, the Divine Elemental's astral form, and feel a very strange energy vibrate out from my true core. At first, it feels like pure mana, as if I'm just activating a normal system skill, but the artificial feeling of a true core's ability triggers in my mind. By the time a yellow aura begins to grow outward, making another figure expand larger than my greater form, it feels extremely natural, like my divine energy is tethering with the mana manifestation and replacing it entirely. If I wasn't completely focused on the silver sword above me, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the mana particles being activated and the divine energy that is melting together with it. Ember grows larger as well, both of us expanding many times our original size before making contact with the silver blade that falls down on us. My energy form grows to over 150 meters tall, making my sword alone near the size of a sports field. I brace for a mind-bending pressure to vibrate through my bones again, pouring every drop of power into this buff, feeling as though there is no end to the expansion it's allowing. I would have grown even larger if there wasn't a time constraint of having to block the falling sword. However, on impact, it doesn't even feel heavy at all. Before I know it, the second blade comes crashing down, then the third and the fourth as well. My intense concentration is broken out of shock at how easy this block was, but it doesn't even matter. All 4 blades combined don't even stack up to the pressure I felt in the first round. I didn't even form the hexagonal defensive array to slow the blades, and it feels like I was blocking a wooden sword in a practice room without even activating magic. The numbers count down to 0, and the swords dissipate. This massive astral form feels so real. Unlike my greater energy form, where it is clear I'm controlling a mana manifestation, this incredibly massive divine flaming perfect energy depiction of myself feels as though I'm standing in my normal body. I see clearly out of the multiple meter-wide eyes, and grasping my sword feels eerily natural. Ember's voice echoes in my mind as I watch his form continue to grow. Don't hold back. The moment you deactivate this form, we're going to be in trouble. Give it your all until the trial is over. As silver text for the 5th round and an ancient voice ring in my ears with far more clarity than before, I shake myself out of the awe of the new form and continue pouring every drop of mana and divine threads I have into it. The 5 silver blades come crashing down on us one by one, and my flaming yellow astral form reaches over 200 meters in height. The blades that collide with my crimson glowing astral soul sword definitely hold weight this time, but it still feels like something I'd receive in a friendly spar. Ember's eyes are as serious as they were in the 3rd round when we were almost crushed to death. And when this round finishes and the 6th begins, his bright yellow astral claws start to shimmer with silver light. My body becomes over 250 meters tall, and at this point, I can feel the growth begin to slow. The excess divine aura radiating off of me feels as if it's constrained within this small room, as none of my yellow threads can seep out of the black walls. It reminds me of the green serpent I saw in the sky of Celia's construct, as its aura stretched thousands of kilometers. Ember even said it would be limited in a room like this. With the amount of power surging through me now, it's hard to believe this is still somehow an incomplete version of this astral form. That, coupled with the fact that the mere availability of my true core's threads is also holding me back. I feel as though I could grow this form to an astronomical size, with no natural limit at all given enough divine energy and space to push my aura outward. As the 3 silver blades on each side of the demon fall down on us, I activate my hexagonal barrier this time around, as Ember isn't taking any chances either. It withstands the first 4 blades but is shattered by the 5th, and once I take the full impact of the 6th blade, with Ember even sending a wave of flames from his astral mouth, the true weight of the demonic statue is felt throughout my body. I've reached an absurd amount of power, and am certain I'm at my limit. The blades pushing down on me are manageable, and I don't feel as though I won't block this attack, but I do have to use my full focus and push upward with considerable strength. If I didn't block the blow with a defensive array beforehand, I would be sweating. The narrative has been stolen. If detected on Amazon, report the infringement. The countdown commences, and the 6 silver blades disappear. This is when the true gravity of the situation kicks in, as there are 3 rounds to go. The 7th round comes and goes, and it is even worse than I expected. While pushing upward with everything I have, the second of 7 swords breaks through my defense array, and myself and the 250-meter-long glowing silver and yellow dragon take a beating from 7 massive blades. I feel my links of loyalty surpass 19 million while the countdown begins. My mind is elsewhere, but a new surge in power is noticeable as an abnormally high amount of links come rushing in from somewhere. All new and old eyes stare through mine, looking past the 7 silver swords at the 2 remaining dormant and the 3 silver eyes staring down at me. The timer hits 0, and the blades disappear. But the enormity of the 5-kilometer-high demon exudes its true aura, while 8 blades light up with silver glowing energy. The demon's silver text and ancient voice ripple into my consciousness, while I already prepare to use every trick I have to block this next strike. Amplified gravity magic using my heavy hand skill, telekinesis with the upward momentum that would hold up the entirety of Solara, a fully charged 120-meter-long astral soul sword swinging upward fortified by divine fire magic, and a defensive barrier holding as many divine threads as my form can spare. My soul sword burns hotter and hotter in my grasp, as it is far more excited to receive the first incoming silver sword than I am. Before the demon's blade has even made its way halfway to us, it's hit with Ember's beam of fire, with trace amounts of silver threads within, and my aura is focused upward on a small area to slow the fall, but it hardly does a thing. My barrier is shattered like glass, and we both take the blow head-on. I feel déjà vu, like we're back in round 3, as with each passing sword strike, my vision becomes more tunneled, and my bones vibrate with sharp pain. The only thing on my mind is pushing upward. I don't even pay attention to the countdown, as every bit of my mental and physical power is going into blocking these 8 fused blades. I almost black out, but the pressure is lifted once the counter hits 0, and fatigue and pain ripple through every part of me. My bones feel as though they've been fractured and partially healed hundreds of times over in just a matter of seconds, and a familiar mind-numbing ringing now sounds in my ears. It feels as though I just fought an exhausting battle, far worse than the shape I was in after defeating Redgrave, almost comparable to my mental state after meeting Raven for the first time. Abby's restoration magic or a full hibernation period is necessary right now, but there's no time to rest. I somehow have to face and attack magnitudes stronger than that while in far worse mental and physical shape. Round 9 of 9 shall commence. This echoes through my mind before I can even regroup my thoughts, and all 9 of the silver blades light up while the demon's 3 eyes flash and look down on me. Fear runs through my mind, and it can be felt throughout all 20,119,524 links that watch through my eyes. It has only been a few seconds, but over 1 million fresh links of loyalty flow into my system. While I could look throughout the 8 great regions and dark continent to pinpoint where this new surge of power is coming from, my mind is fully occupied on the demonic statue above me, as for the first time in this entire trial, its head moves to look down, and the first bladed arm moves to strike right after. Every single link felt and conceptualized the strength of that last barrage of 8 attacks and the extent of my power I just used. My mind races for ideas, and I reach into my item storage to grab a handful of unique green fruits left over from my true core's awakening. If anything these could give me a boost, but I'm not sure if they will really do much. Even Ember contemplates activating his golden divine threads, but we both know if he does that, I would be all alone to finish the trials and face everyone else inside. It is a hidden trump card, but not one we can afford to use right now. What is coming next might be impossible to stop. Before these trials even began, during my fight with Redgrave, 2 people deep within the Apex region make a decision that may change the result of this final round. Bree and Rodrigo hear the words being spoken about Central Headquarters and tear the Apex region's headquarters apart top to bottom, looking through every spare vault and even small association headquarters all over the region looking for a single object. A message is sent out to all of the regional directors, A-class hunters, B-class hunters, and even regional elites all over the nation, linked to the Rising Emperor or not, and there is only one transmission back after a nerve-wracking wait. Yes? Regional Overseer Ms. Brianna. This is a transmission from the off-site Apex region vault. There are old transport crystals to Central stored here from right after the war. Will those do? Send your location, is all that is heard back. And soon after, two flashes of white light blink through the sky to a base 200 kilometers away from the capital. While my fight with Redgrave battled on and the trials began, Rodrigo and Bree find themselves teleporting into an old underground headquarters in the middle of the central headquarters mountain built far before the divine flames were made around the mountain. Neither of them wastes time and breaks through the ceiling upward many floors before they find themselves in one of the many Central Association branches full of C- and B-grade hunters. Normal intruder protocol is followed, but there are barely any elite forces present in Central at the moment. Almost every single Divine Core holder, minus a small select few red and orange cores to man widespread security, has left the world capital to fight in the Dark Continent. The duo, wielding light magic and mana control that far surpasses anyone on this entire mountain, subjugates everyone in their way until they reach the control rooms and people in charge of large-scale public transmissions. On the far side of the world, it is nearing nighttime, while in the Dark Continent, the sun is still rising. A broad message in a woman's voice echoes over many local news stations and public channels for many millions of people walking through the streets to hear. This is not a normal message. I repeat, this is not a normal message. There is a vast world beyond this city. The leaders of the Central Association have been lying to you all for decades. Many listening may not believe a word I say at first, or may be too young to even understand. The Great War never ended. It carries on beyond those yellow flames. If you do as I say, I can prove it to all of you right now. If you wish to leave this land, or save the world, listen to my words. Mass confusion ripples throughout the city, as one of the 10 local sectors seems to have had their transmission cables breached and a message sent out to millions of civilians in a populated area. Then 9 other branches that keep the central headquarters in line send troops toward this headquarters, flying through the skies the instant this message is sounded. And the few remaining divine cores in the city that actually know what is going on today instantly move out to stop this security breach from spreading further. Chapter 677. Bree's voice echoes throughout a local sector of the massive mountain above the divine flames. Rodrigo questions all of the top officers within the headquarters they've taken over in mere seconds and finds city maps pinpointing the other control centers that manage security and a link to wire into the transmission coverage across the other 9 districts. Bree's words of the big 3 that lived in the floating black boxes high in the sky and the fact that the creator of those yellow flames surrounding the tower is being defeated right now is heard by tens of millions of system-awakened men and women. Her words about the Great War get many of the older crowd interested, especially when Bree gives instructions on how to help in the Second Great War, to help finish it once and for all. Even if they don't know or care what she's talking about, the permanent stat buff bonus that she mentions next brings in the younger crowd's attention. As her voice echoes through all 10 districts of the Central Association's mountain civilization, Bree repeats this message over and over again, and small amounts of people begin to give it a try, reciting their sworn loyalty to a mysterious flame emperor figure to get a few extra stat points or give in to the fleeting hope that this woman's words of the Great War are true. It starts off as a slow trickle, but with the expansive scene that is instantly transmitted into their minds of a demonic statue swinging silver swords at a 250m tall flaming figure that can only be called the Flame Emperor, the word spreads like wildfire that it's real. Echoing transmissions fill every major city, but at the same time, over a dozen red cores and an orange core circle the building that Bree and Rodrigo have infiltrated with angry looks on their faces. The orange core gives the order for all of the red core Central Association scouts to eliminate the threat. Meanwhile, a battle begins in the center of the Dark Continent. Raven's blades clashing against the Blackhorn Demon's spear sends a shockwave through the entire Silver Dome, notifying everyone that the strongest forces here have begun their battle. The hazel-eyed sword wielder doesn't want to reveal her divine stealth trump card, as an eerie aura comes off this demon that makes her feel extremely on edge about getting too close. While the 7-meter-tall demon's appearance is menacing enough, it has a true core strength slightly less powerful than Raven. Even its level is just below 10,000, but the monster has incredible natural strength and demonic soul energy that can easily rival Raven's pure mana. Their speed and reflexes are very similar as well. There is just a confidence behind the demonic white eyes and an invisible aura that makes her hesitant at first to use all of her tricks. Is that all you've got? The demon laughs while their exchanges begin, and Raven's mind flashes back to the battle she had not too far away from here with the Flame Emperor. Going all out with no fear of dying at all, and enjoying the fight itself. She doesn't yell back, only grins an unnoticeable amount, and disappears before the demon's eyes. Closer to the tower, the front lines of the Crimson Army's forces collide with one of the demonic forces. Fisher and Lydia send waves that look like an icy tiger and a water serpent into their main forces, imbued with orange and yellow divine light, killing a dozen red demonic knights instantly, and a single orange core general, while the Crimson Army's elemental elites team up to face the red cores left behind injured from the initial strike. Waves of dense divine energy and soul energy come out of the two leading the battle while my doubles hold the rear with the pure chi manifestation wielders. After Fisher and Lydia send off a few more attacks, and the Crimson Army's forces get deeper into full battle, dense black arrows come flying into the mix from Ari, watching from far behind with Luna's eyes above. In moments right before disaster, the lives of Crimson Army members are saved so they can battle on with full force without the fear of death. Love what you're reading? Discover and support the author on the platform they originally published on. Abby and Maria erupt with power from their general's 1% buffs, and the high-level yellow cores that come their way with killing intent in their eyes meet an unexpected early end. Two women that looked like overconfident, easy, low-level yellow core prey moments ago turn into an indestructible green flash of light and an enormous blue ice goddess. Abby decapitates and shatters the core of the demon that follows her in mere seconds, and Maria's icy blue blade doesn't even need the extra pulse from her soul energy core to come crashing down on the archdemon below her in the sky. Its blade moving upward to block is broken into pieces on impact, and the demon's body freezes to pure ice, shattering to icy bits while Maria finishes the entirety of the swing. Both of them stand in the sky, without any change in their breathing, with sharp eyes waiting for a real opponent, while level-up notifications ring in their ears. The Bronzehorn demon subjugating the Central Association's troops turns his gaze to Sector 1, the direction in which two high-level generals just went dark out of nowhere. His eyes widen and he yells out orders while pushing himself off the desert floor with a massive amount of demonic soul energy. The dagger-wielding demon lets out an angry yell while rocketing through the air, traveling hundreds of kilometers in seconds, releasing his true core's real aura and waves of killing intent, while planning to kill the two women before him. The remaining two high-level yellow generals and forces of red and orange cores plan to do exactly as their captain said, setting out to slaughter the entire Crimson Army as they are clearly unfit to take orders from the proper demonic authority. While this battle begins, on the inside of the tower, the first of 9 silver blades comes down toward me. An abnormal amount of links of loyalty are rushing into my body, but I don't believe it will be enough. I eat a handful of all the remaining green fruits I have left over from the divine construct, and at the same time clear my mind, focusing solely on doing everything I did in the 8th round, but with extreme and total precision like the fate of the world truly depends on it. Unbeknownst to me, as I swing upward with all of my offensive skills activated, a defensive array forming in front of my blade, ripples of green light pulse out from my astral form's chest, strengthening my body like strong green veins or an exoskeleton of aura. As the first blade shatters through the hexagonal barrier like it isn't even there, the blade comes crashing down against my red soul sword, and against Ember's fire pillar from his mouth, and silver claws, now fortified with twice as many silver threads as they were for any of the last rounds. This first blade feels heavier than all 8 of the blades combined on the last round. I feel my bones and cells within my body vibrate with sharp pain, and my astral form desperately wants to dissipate on the spot. However, the green lines of energy that wrap around my form hold everything together, as the entire room lights up with a bright yellow and silver glow. The ringing in my ears of divine energy poisoning from staying enlarged in this form and exerting myself grows over 10 times louder in a single strike. So loud, in fact, I don't even feel or see the next blade coming. It slams down, and the ringing gets worse, and the pressure on my body becomes unfathomable. I black out, or to better put things, I white out. My body and mind continue to push upward with instincts alone, and the silver swords keep slamming downward one by one while my mind escapes elsewhere. I hallucinate, seeing images of the first day I awaken my system, farming goblins just to pay rent. My life flashes before my consciousness. The smile of an old merchant who bought my mana crystals even before I had a hunter's license, showing up to Maria's awakening ceremony, meeting Abby at the association, and traveling to the capital of the Vice region for the first time with a small guild. Images of working for the association, good and bad, farming dungeons, going to the C-class exams where I met both Ari and Ember, meeting new teammates, and eventually being betrayed by the association but continuing on with all the cards I've been dealt. My adventures through the Dark Continent, learning of Chi, divine beasts, demons, and expanding my empire back to where I started, the 8 great regions, eventually all show up in stunning detail. Awakening a divine core, and learning who really controls this world. Touring city to get support before a battle that will decide the fate of all humans. Even the battle against Redgrave replays in my mind as the silver swords continue to fall down on me. The green energy that gave me a boost, holding my astral form together, all fades away, as energy of higher tiers does not stay in one's body until the core is fully formed. However, the mental trip I've experienced flashes through everyone's minds that shares my link, showing now over 22 million people the equally beautiful and dreadful world I've seen in such a short time. Unknown to me, still in a fugue state, almost 4 million people in the Central Association have just seen the outside world for the first time in many decades. My links skyrocket, hitting 24 million by the 7th sword, and 27 million by the time the 9th and final sword in the center of the demon's grasp comes down. My massive fiery astral form shows cracks all over its surface as I hold the 9 blades back, with Ember's flames still bursting outward at full force, filling the room with fiery heat. As the timer counts down from 3, more links flow in, and more cracks form all over my greater form's surface. By the time the counter hits 0, over 30 million pairs of eyes watch through mine while the 9 swords disappear, and my astral form shatters as I stop giving it any extra energy because my job is done. All of the demon's arms move back to their starting point. Silver text hovers in the air. Round 9 of 9 complete. Trial 1, body, complete. Calculating prize based on trial difficulty. Prize calculated. All of the text disappears, and the entire silver demon statue fades away shimmering with the same silver light. 2 small black boxes fall from the ceiling and hit the floor in front of the massive arching doorway that now glows completely silver just like the door I entered to begin these trials. Chapter 678. The ringing in my ears is extremely loud, but my vision has returned, as my full power isn't fully concentrated on keeping my astral form at max capacity anymore. Now, a large portion of my mind is occupied with using my self-regeneration to its maximum output while walking forward to the black box that's fallen from the ceiling. Each step is painful, as my entire body is fatigued and filled with pins and needles that become sharp with every movement. Ember, walking forward in his human form, doesn't look like he's in much better shape than me. His face still exudes a confident and curious expression, but his body language shows that the ordeal took a lot out of him too. While I have an enormous amount of pure mana farmed from the artificial mountains still locked away in my storage in pure crystal form, ready to use for emergency hibernation if necessary, the boxes in front of me hold my full leftover attention. They glow with a dim white light that feels similar to divine energy, creating subtle gravity waves as it seeps out of the black boxes that don't show any openings. As soon as Ember and I get up close enough to the prizes, the tops of the small boxes dissolve away, shining with a far stronger white glow inside. The box in front of me holds 3 items. The first that catches my eye is a jagged piece of black metallic stone, but as it floats upward, pushed up by the white mist inside the box, it begins shimmering deep yellow and gives off the gravity signature of a true core. The red soul sword in my hand mentally tugs toward this object, but my gaze shifts to the other 2 that float upward in the white mist. One is barely visible, a small white orb, not bigger than a common marble, but it shines with the same odd divine light that this white box's inside does. The last item I see is about 4 times larger than the white marble, but it is similarly shaped. Its color glows bright green, and I can see an immense amount of shimmering divine threads inside of it. As the green orb comes out of the white mist, the pressure it begins to exert on the room becomes greater and greater, and I even see green threads start to violently spin out from the orb as it begins to unravel itself. Without hesitating, I open an item storage portal and let the dangerous item fall inside. The two items that remain float upward completely out of the box, and the hunger from my sword grows as the chunk of black and yellow metal comes closer. I move my blade forward to tap it against the raw material, and a consume window shows up for me to accept on the spot. The originator rock melts to a yellow pure divine energy mixture instantly and is consumed by my blade. My gaze switches between the red sword, rippling with yellow light as it takes longer than usual to digest the mass it's eating, and the one remaining item in front of me. Ember's voice echoes in my ears. That pill is made of low-quality divine ether, and it's in a very pure form. I guess the difficulty of that trial worked out in our favor in the end. Eat it. It'll do much more than just heal you. I raise an eyebrow and turn my head to see Ember's box open as well, and in front of him, there's only a single item. A small white dragon scale, glowing with the same odd white divine glow. His finger makes contact with the white, nearly translucent scale, and at the same time he transforms his body into his hybrid dragon form. The scale starts to glow brighter white, and the excess energy around it starts to flow into Ember's body, making his black scales, crimson eyes, and tail glow with a bright white light. The scale disappears once it looks as though it's been absorbed entirely, and all of the white light around Ember dissipates as well. I can't even tell if anything has changed, other than the pleasant expression on his face now and his apparent lack of fatigue. As he begins reverting back to his full human form, I notice a slight golden shimmer beneath some of Ember's scales, like their true color is peeking through for the first time. However, a headache pulls my vision away before I can observe any further, and I do as Ember instructed and drop the low-quality divine ether pill into my mouth. It dissolves instantly, and tastes sweet like candy. The white glow spreads throughout my body quickly, feeling similar to when Abby uses her restoration skill, but with a strange divine twist to it. It feels as though I'm just being healed back up to full health, but at the same time, an innate potential deep inside feels like it's being brought up to the surface, where I would usually have to dig far deeper to grasp. Unlawfully taken from Royal Road, this story should be reported if seen on Amazon. Just as soon as the warm feeling washes completely over me, it leaves just as fast, and the white glow completely disappears with the two black boxes with it. All of my fatigue, ringing in my ears, and even the pins and needles all over my body have completely left me. Yet, I don't feel especially refreshed. I just feel normal. Two lines of text hover in front of my eyes, the first in yellow, and I feel my soul sword vibrate in my hands as the system text rings in my inner ear. The Divine Emperor's soul sword evolution attribute has reached LV1. The second is in shimmering silver, above the arching doorway, in the ancient tower's voice that rings in my mind with even more clarity than ever before. Proceed to Trial 2, Mind. Around the outside of the tower, the surges of links of loyalty surpassing 30 million increase the general stats by an immense degree. It is much needed, as two new high-level Yellow Corps generals come rocketing toward the Crimson Army from their rear. The only forces waiting strong enough to stop them are the Saint in his large white pure chi-infused greater form, and Ari now releasing one of his poisoned arrows toward one of them as they approach. However, the greatest boost is noticed in Abby and Maria, as a fuming mad bronze-horned demon with a true core burning in its chest collides with both of them at extreme speeds. One of its shimmering bronze daggers phases right through Abby's immortal form, while the other is stopped by a massive blue soul energy sword. There are two massive eruptions of energy that ripple through the desert, the first being the nearly equal exchange of the demon's dagger and Maria's energy blades, while the second is Abby flying around to the demon's back and stabbing through its armor with two daggers of her own. All three parties involved in the exchange are blown backward, and two gashes are visible on the demon's side, but both the black obsidian-colored armor and the demon's flesh become covered in purple demonic soul energy and heal back to perfect condition almost instantly. No one wastes any time getting back into the clash, but the demon is now wary that Abby is hard to hit, and the ice goddess can match his overwhelming physical strength even with demonic soul energy imbued in his strikes. Even though this demon is at the lower tier range of a true core size, its 7-meter-tall natural stature and demonic strength are similar to a middle-level true core human, surpassing that of almost all Order members other than the Big Three. Despite this, the absurd amount of mana and stats coursing through the two women's veins creates a sight unbelievable to the pride-filled archdemon's eyes. After 10 exchanges pass, the two women keep getting slightly stronger somehow, and every time the demon thinks it's about to land a hit, Maria's core pulses dark blue to let out an ominous pulse of energy to overpower it. Abby zips around the battlefield with superior speed and invulnerability, landing shot after shot on the demon's unguarded blind spots while it's mid-clash with Maria. While after every collision the demon heals, mental and physical fatigue will kick in eventually. With the links of loyalty only growing, the longer this battle rages on, the more of an advantage they'll have. The demon figures this out very quickly as well, but its overall composure doesn't change. It even laughs, mocking the two of them even after being sent backward from Abby landing another 2 hits. For humans, I have to give it to you, you really are strong. Especially on such a world with low-quality resources like this. It heals its wounds back up and grips both its bronze daggers while its body becomes covered in demonic soul energy. I'll give you one last chance to submit. Lord Vermilion is a reasonable leader. He will spare your lives in exchange for labor. Not just on this world either. Once we've taken over this planet, the expansion will only continue. Maria's massive energy blade comes crashing down, while Abby zips through the sky around it to send a dual attack. As they all clash again, and the demon is pushed back with 2 dagger marks in its chest plate, Abby replies to its words. One last chance? I don't think you know who you're up against here. You're not walking away from this battle alive, and neither is your lord. Abby glances toward the tower, but the demon only bursts out into a monstrous demonic laugh. You believe any mere human could kill a demon with a noble bloodline flowing through their veins? It laughs louder and louder while all of its wounds and armor heal. You truly believe our leader could be killed on this puny world? Allow me to demonstrate, as one of the Lord's underlings with just a fraction of its power. I'll unseal my bloodline to give you a taste of what fate this race is in for. Its laughs cease, and the demon closes its eyes. There isn't even a fraction of a second of activation time before its eyes open again, and a pulse of gray energy erupts from its core. An eerie pressure fills the silver dome, and the gravity of the bronze-horned demon's true core increases many times over. It jumps off the air to move forward, and its speed is incomparable to what it was just seconds ago. It collides with Maria's blade that would push it back before and keep it occupied while Abby went in for the kill. But this time Maria can't follow through with her strike at all. She has to use her soul energy core to pulse with dark blue light multiple times in a row to keep her positioning while Abby goes in to attack. The sound of Abby's daggers clanging against the demon's now impenetrable obsidian armor is matched with both Abby and Maria flung backward in a shockwave that erupts from the demon as its core continues to grow stronger as its bloodline is fully unsealed. Its yell echoes out again in a confident, arrogant laugh while its physical body grows in size. This is the power of a second-class demonic bloodline. I could kill everyone in this desert before you take 10 breaths. And you still believe there is someone from this world that can stack up to our Lord. It laughs again while locking eyes with both of them, grinning, as its body grows larger and plumes of dark purple demonic soul energy cover its massive form. The demon's aura makes the air hot and heavy, while it creates the manifestation of a massive dark black and purple demon the same size as Maria's ice goddess. It speeds forward with its enlarged energy daggers ready to kill, now truly on the offensive. Chapter 679. My crimson soul sword levels up and burns hot in my hands, ready for war after digesting that jagged piece of originator stone. However, it slowly fades back to black as it feels my calm heartbeat and senses no worthy opponents nearby. There's no additional information shown on my status about it, other than the hundreds of % increases in stat buffs and the LV0 turning to LV1. I'm certain I'll find out more once it's in the mood to fight again. I walk forward into the massive silver portal at the back of the room, and the same warm and cold teleportation magic envelopes me in ember, bringing us into what feels like an identical room. My foot hits the hard black ground, and I look around to see the same high ceilings and smooth walls. I can still feel the outside world with perfect clarity and see the battle between the demons and my army beginning. However, after stepping through this portal, I feel tens of kilometers above the ground. My vantage point of the world has risen, as this portal has brought me higher in the tower. At the back of the room, I see the outline of another door, and a massive silver statue sits in front of it. Instead of a demon, it seems this second trial has a three-headed serpent guarding the closed door. Its body coils into a large base, and its three necks stretch upward over 7 kilometers, even higher than the 9-armed demon below us. Ember walks out by my side, and we both look at the shimmering silver text floating between our gaze and the 6 eyes that shine with a silver glint, frozen in time and looking down at us. All conditions in completing Trial 1 met. Would you like to start the second trial? Yes. No. I take a deep breath, walk forward, and press yes, as I feel more than ready to take on whatever it has to throw at me next. Enter the trial area. The message rings in my inner ear, and a nearly identical silver testing circle lights up in front of the silver serpent. Both of us walk forward without a word, and once we stand in its center, more text appears. Trial 2, Mind. Calculating necessary difficulty. Difficulty calculated. Trial 2. Round 1 of 3 shall commence. Round 1 of 3 title. Isolation. Objective, endure. The far left head of the serpent moves, baring its fangs and long tongue while moving down to eye level. The entire statue glows with a faint silver light, but I can't sense it at all. Just like the silver blades in the last round, this energy is undetectable to me. Even when making contact with it, I could only quantify the pure force it exerted, not its full potential. With this knowledge, I want to be ready for anything, so I point my blade forward and activate my greater form, even preparing to activate my astral form if needed. Ember grows into his dragon form as well, but he's not nearly as on edge as I am. Before I can ask why, the serpent's head halts, and its eyes flash silver, blinding me entirely. My audio, visual, and even physical senses are completely overwhelmed before I can even think to try to stay conscious. All 33,921,800 links of loyalty looking through my eyes lose vision of what I'm seeing, and I lose my view of the outside world. The silver light fades as fast as it came, but when the darkness returns, my senses do not. All I see is darkness, and I can't feel my body either. A twisted thought races through my mind, wondering if I failed and this is what death feels like. But feeling death dozens of times already from the perspective of my body doubles makes me quickly believe that hasn't happened. There was no notification, and a very interesting sensation lingers in my consciousness. I'm unsure if it is part of this trial or an aftereffect of the prize from the last one. Unauthorized reproduction. This story has been taken without approval. Report sightings. I feel a very faint, indescribable pull that feels extremely similar to that white energy ember called divine ether. I can't see it, and have no frame of reference to say I physically feel it, but for some reason, it is present within this endless expanse of darkness around me. The trial is one testing the mind, and the round's descriptor was isolation. I have no breath to take, nor any heartbeat to measure the time. I can't even mentally pull up my status window for external stimulation. Whatever this trial has in store for me, all I can do now is as it instructed. Endure. Just a few moments ago, as Abby and Maria are attacked again by the unsealed bronze-horned demon, its power seems to grow more and more with every second that passes. Maria's dark blue blade can deflect its dual daggers, now coated in a dense layer of demonic soul energy, creating a greater demonic form. However, she's using her full concentration and entire strength to even contend with the bloodlust-fueled demon. She's been moved entirely to the defensive, even being overpowered on some of the recent hits. The ice goddess form is sent flying backward after every exchange, closer and closer to the silver dome's back wall. And now, with the thick demonic soul energy defenses, Abby's close-range attacks aren't even able to make it through without dealing with that overwhelming aura with her unguarded body. The tone of their battle has completely turned on its head. One moment, they're the ones landing consistent hits to tire the demon out, and now both of them are being overpowered. Its chaotic yell erupts through their battle as it only grows more powerful with every swing, settling into its unsealed form. It sure feels good to let out my real full power. Not so confident now, are you? He blocks Maria's incoming attack with just one dagger, then throws the other to his left side, while a stream of purple soul energy shoots it forward with unbelievable speed and force. While the two are locked together, the demon's flying dagger aims straight for her vitals. Maria accepts that she won't win this exchange, twists her body out of the way, and is shot backward from the force. But the demon's flying attack grazes her midsection while it curves back to the demon's open grasp. A massive gash opens in her side as it tears through her blood-bonded armor like paper, and a demonic soul energy wound imbued with true core's threads burns bright as she's slammed against the back wall of the silver dome. Abby attempts a long-range attack while the demon is focused on Maria, but the demon twists its body and sends its other dagger flying through the air, obliterating the barrage of earth pillars sent toward its back. While in its flight path, it aims to take out Abby too, but it phases through her immortal form like a hologram. She grins, but the demon doesn't seem concerned. The dagger comes flying back to it like a boomerang, and the demon points both blades together to create a dense ball of demonic soul energy floating between them. Its strength and true core's density only become more intense and deadly with every moment that passes, and the ball of matter it's creating is densely packed with true core's threads and violent dark purple energy. As soon as Abby darts to find another angle to launch an attack, the demon releases the strange ball of matter, and it shoots forward even faster than the flying daggers did. The instant it makes contact with Abby's immortal form, her eyes widen, and the ball of energy explodes in a violent display of power. She's sent flying backward from the blast, as the initial impact had enough strange energy inside it to somehow overpower her ranked-up buff for a split second at the instance of the explosion. The green woman coughs up blood as she shoots tens of kilometers back at a downward angle, hitting the desert floor and creating a crater from the impact. Its loud thud is followed by the demon's laughter, and at the same time, the live video feed inside the tower goes dark as the second trial begins with a mysterious severing of the visual feed. Thousands of kilometers away in Sector 1, Raven lands her first hit on the Black Spear user's stomach, perfectly evading its senses in her invisible stealth form until the moment of contact. Her attack would have pierced right through the demon's core, but it was fast enough to shift its body and counter with its spear. Before the demon and Raven collide a second time, its shattered black armor and bleeding stomach regenerate in a plume of demonic soul energy. In their next exchange, Raven manages to slice through the demon's shoulder, but it counters with its spear, milliseconds away from landing a vital shot on Raven during the moment she's visible upon contact. The demon smirks, keeping a calm expression while waves of gray and demonic energy ripple out from where its true core partner is fighting. Looks like you humans are pretty strong after all. If my partner had to unseal his bloodline, your teammates are certainly not ordinary. His eyes sharpen, and his grip on his spear shifts slightly as purple soul energy surges through his hands into the weapon. There's no response from Raven, but the demon predicts Raven's exact positioning on her next strike, and they clash blade to spear on equal footing. That is an interesting skill, a divine-grade stealth integration. I don't think I've ever seen one before. They push each other back, and more purple demonic soul energy pours out of the demon's body, covering its spear and even its entire 7-meter-tall frame, leaving only its white eyes piercing through the veil. In response, Raven sends over half a dozen more attacks its way, but she's blocked right before impact each time. Every counter the archdemon makes is dodged just in time too. However, even now it appears the demon is holding back and just watching Raven attack for fun. It speaks again with a confident smile and calm tone. It's a shame I'll have to kill such a budding talent like you. If this was truly my full strength, you might have a chance. But there's no point in toying with you longer than necessary. I will teach the elite of your human world true despair. Behold, a first-class demonic bloodline. The white glowing eyes behind the purple veil close, and when they open, an eerie pressure reaches every being in this dome. Its initial gravity wave at such close range is enough to seep deep into Raven's psyche and forcefully deactivate her divine stealth mode. It makes heads turn hundreds of kilometers away, and the waves of gravity and killing intent only become stronger while the demon's greater energy form begins to grow in size. Chapter 680. Cut off from the outside, alone in a black void of darkness with no way to feel my body or know when time will pass. All I can do is wait. The round's name was isolation, so my best guess is that I must endure and not crack under the pressure of endless time without stimulation. On its surface, this seems like a quite simple and straightforward first round for the trial. All I have to do is sit and wait. But the daunting underside of this is that there is no timer signifying how long exactly I have to wait. The worry that the outside world is moving on without me doesn't seem like an issue, as the tower's rules stated the third and final trial won't start until all challengers are present, and I trust my inner circle to stand their ground outside. If Ember is in a similar situation as me, I trust that he will be just fine as well, as he's most likely lived more lifetimes than I can comprehend. Waiting in an endless void may not be very difficult for his psyche. I've been through something like this before. Inside the Titan's domain the first time I fell inside by accident, not knowing when I'd ever make it out of that solid white box. Even returning to train, the isolation definitely changed me, but it was possible. However, as these thoughts raced through my consciousness, the fact that the difficulty of this trial was calculated beforehand, just like the first one, does give me a tinge of unease. My definition of long isolation may be far different from my battle partners. Even so, I can't move, speak, smell, or see. All I can do is endure. So that's what I do. What I can only believe to be the first few hours go by extremely slowly, as this is the time when the reality of this situation truly sinks in. I want to move around or hear some noise. It's like a gut impulse that craves patterns and wants there to be some kind of movement within the infinite darkness that hits my senses. I try to count in my head, but after reaching 100000, even this begins to seem trivial. Then again, the moment I stop and decide to just sit in my own silence again, my mind forces me to restart the count. I can think about potential scenarios in the outside world, like a fantasy playing in my mind, but they all fall short of the reality before me. This is not my normal mind. I cannot just picture crystal clear images as if they were reality. All I can do is savor the fading memory of what it used to look like to see. It's not like I'm closing my eyes to see this darkness. I don't have any eyes to close. This abyss of nothingness is everything I have. Colors and sounds become nothing but a fading memory as I recalibrate to what's before me. I don't feel hunger, pain, or pleasure whatsoever. My count reaches 100,000 again, and it doesn't feel like I'm counting fast or slow at all. Both concepts begin to split away. Maybe in the first few hours I could have guessed that I'd say one or two numbers in my head every second, but now I can't tell if seconds, minutes, or even hours are going by between each number. I begin to have mental slips in between each number I count, spacing off into the endless void, not remembering whether or not I was imagining what it was like in the outside world or still counting, and having to reset my numbers again and again. From this point forward, I never make it back anywhere close to 100,000 again. I consciously realize this, but there is nothing else to keep my mind occupied. I can only think about using my system, or the faces of my teammates, or the impending battles in this tower for so long. The daunting feeling of being trapped in true endless darkness because of my soul pact with an immortal being that keeps me partially sane. Slipping away for too long now could be catastrophic if this is just the beginning. Fleeting memories of Ember's calm eyes and unfazed demeanor in every situation we're in begin to make far more sense. When looking into the void of eternity, what is there truly to fear? There's a point where this notion is all I really think about, and an eerie calm washes through what's left of my mind. I sit in the darkness with only darkness on my mind. I know I have a goal. It is to endure, but at a certain point, I don't know why or what I'm enduring for. There isn't anything else to do though, so endure is what I do. Darkness envelopes reality and becomes it. Days could have passed, maybe years, decades, centuries, millennia. I don't know. My mind has put its walls up. The moment I lost the ability to count any further and accepted this reality, a mechanism in my mind decided to save its conscious thoughts, tucking them away into the depths of my consciousness. only to let my subconscious play with the endless darkness and lack of stimulation in my surroundings. If anything happens in the void around me, it is impossible to tell, as I've mentally cut off my conscious mind from its surroundings as an automatic defense mechanism. In reality, my subconscious wanders, and it finds what I sensed slightly the moment I started this trial. This tale has been pilfered from Royal Road. If found on Amazon, kindly file a report. It is an invisible, unsensible, undetectable energy floating around in my mind. When my active thoughts attempted to pursue it, it could never be found. But now my subconscious plays with the invisible energy left within my mind that is divine ether. It acts as though it has a mind of its own but moves extremely slowly, only communicating with my subconscious on a scale of years rather than seconds as a usual conversation would. My mind accepts this conversation as a slow-moving white mist in a sea of darkness, and it creates a barrier between the nothingness and my true mind deep within, shielding it from the passage of time while having a conversation with my subconscious. 903,881 years, 7 months, 2 weeks, 4 days, 11 hours, 30 minutes, and 16 seconds pass. Silver light and an ancient-sounding voice echo through my mind, waking me up from the longest nap I've ever taken. Round 2 of 3 shall commence. Round 2 of 3 title, Perception. Objective, find the finish. As I see these words flash through my mind, the feeling of my body returns to me. My tight grasp around my soul sword is evident, and my divine core burning bright in my chest is powerful and ready to take on the world. Ember looks at me with an expression of concern, and the second head of the serpent moves toward us. It is all extremely overstimulating, as it feels as though I just stared into darkness for a few months, or maybe even a full year. It feels longer than any time I ever spent in the Titan's domain. I remember counting and waiting, then counting more, then just darkness, and now I'm awake. It really didn't feel like much of a challenge now that I look back on it. There is an overwhelming feeling that comes over me as though I'm definitely missing something, but too many things attack my mind at once. Even if this first round was easier than expected, the instant connection to 35,947,021 links of loyalty is quite overwhelming. I can't remember the exact number of links from before, but as my perception seeps back to the battlefield outside the tower, my eyes widen, and I realize it was all an illusion. Even so, I do remember being extremely confident about the odds of the battle outside going into this, and what I can see around me, the battles aren't going quite as planned. Some time has certainly passed. With the Silver Serpent's head coming closer, I make the split-second decision to open my Rising Emperor's domain to make some changes in order to help those on the outside before I won't be able to anymore. The same instant I do, the Silver Serpent's eyes flash silver again, and my vision is blurred. Just a few moments ago, my whereabouts inside the tower were cut off from everyone on the outside world. Maria has been injured by a strange demonic energy-laced dagger, while Abby was knocked backward by a ball of darkness, stronger than any attacks Ember threw at her during their training. On the other side of the desert, Raven is having a rude awakening of her own, as the aura alone from this demon unleashing its bloodline made it through her divine stealth True Core's ability, rendering her trump card useless. Both the demon's body, spear, and purple-glowing demonic greater form grow in size, becoming far larger than Raven's battle form, and suppressing her movements entirely with its aura alone. Not even sending a concentrated attack Raven's way. She winces, having trouble even looking up at the massive demonic form. It speaks loud enough for the entire Dark Continent battlefield to hear. You have all been doomed from the start. We can suppress the strongest in this world with ease. Our Lord shall reign supreme, and you shall obey. It releases a real wave of intimidation, and Raven is sent flying backward from the shockwave alone. It grins and lets out a low laugh. Its fellow True Core on the other side of the desert matches its tone, as they have both shown their dominance, and no one in this world is anywhere close to strong enough to stand in their way. The link from within the tower is severed, and even the Crimson Army has its hands full, fending off 8 times the number of troops attacking them from both sides. Ari has managed to keep the casualties at 0 so far, as his full concentration has been saving soldiers in danger from afar while the Crimson Army fights with everything they have. However, that too looks like it's soon to change, as two high-level yellow cores are coming their way, one of which is dead set on Ari, as it's the one that he almost killed and humiliated in front of its lord. Even as all hope of salvaging this fight seems lost, no one backs down. The Saint and Ari turn their focus to the generals while Fisher and Lydia pull back to stop being hyper-aggressive and make sure to watch the backs of their fellow troops now while the full yellow cores handle the front lines. Maria tanks the purple wound that won't go away no matter how much self-regeneration she does at the moment. It only slowly heals, and would take minutes that she doesn't have to fully recover on her own. So she recharges her soul energy sword to face the superior demon that threw that hit. Abby, forming half a dozen spears of rock around herself, shakes off the hit she received and zips around the backside of the demon to support Maria as it comes her way. Maria pulls out a small white knife from her item box, one of the unique items Raven gifted her when they cultivated together in her volcanic base. She lets go of it, and it begins to spin around her ice goddess form, leaving a trail of white ice behind it. There is a faint divine energy coming off of it, and Maria's expression tells this won't be enough of a boost to turn the tide of the battle, but it will give her enough time to wait for support or think of another idea that will. This is proven true as she and the demon collide again. Maria is overpowered just slightly by their collision and has to twist out of the way again, but as the second dagger comes hurtling toward her midsection, the white icy blade hits it, and it's thrown just off course enough to avoid hitting her. Abby sends a massive raining attack of earth pillars down on the demon, and it has to use up another attack to destroy them, giving her just enough time to curve around to Maria and use her restoration magic to heal the demonic wound on her side. While Maria and Abby have just enough power and gear to fend off their second-class bloodline demon, the first-class monstrosity staring down at Raven is in a league of its own. "You still dare to look at me like you have a chance at winning?" It arrogantly yells while pointing its black and purple greater forms spear down at Raven, making her look like an ant in comparison. The ripple in space the spear makes as it comes closer sends Raven flying backward just from the radiation. But her grip on her blade stays tight and her eyes stare up at the demon without fear. It laughs, retrieving its weapon and flying forward while yelling again, "Very well, I understand. The strongest warrior of humans wanting to be killed while holding on to hope for their world." Then, it throws its spear forward, faster than the eye can see. It almost looks like the spear disappears in the demon's grasp, and only reappears when it makes contact with Raven's chest plate. It shatters, and the shockwaves it creates crack through the entire dome, sending her flying downward toward the desert floor, coughing blood. The demon yells as she plummets downward. "While I understand, I do not respect your wishes. You are a human and we are your gods. You shall submit, and I will make an example of you to the world as my personal slave. Go against the demons that rule you, and this is the result. Even your strongest cannot resist." Another massive boom echoes throughout the dome as a crater is formed on impact, and the purple spear pins Raven to the rocky desert floor. It missed her vitals by mere millimeters. This was clearly done on purpose as the demon floats downward with a twisted grin on its greater demonic form. However, Raven's hands still grip the silver blades, and her eyes are as sharp as they were when the battle started. That's because, on the way down, the sensation of the view inside the tower returned. Now, after impact as the demon comes closer, a notification rings in her inner ear. A new unique buff is granted within her system interface. Raven has become the 4th general of the Rising Emperor, and now watches her unsuspecting prey float down toward her from above.